son graduated to sergeant today.
It's wicked cool. It's our new aviation class. It gives kids a chance to break into the industry. There's a lot of careers in aviation. This class is a lot more than just flying planes.
We've learned so much already. We've learned how to take off. We've learned instrument flight rules. It's something everyone can do, I think.
Good. And you see, remember that horizon? Try to keep it parallel to your cockpit.
After the 2-year program, they're going to be able to take the knowledge test for their private pilot exam. I am a pilot. I've been in Bakersfield for 10 years. I worked as an instructor for 6 years and then became a corporate pilot. And I'm a teacher here. We have amazing equipment. Even flight schools don't have that much equipment.
You put a class like this somewhere at North High, and it's really preparing kids to succeed because it gives them a whole new set of opportunities they never knew that they had the chance to pursue. I'm proud to say that I'm from North High School and that we have administration that's willing to put the money into offering really, really neat programs like this and preparing kids to succeed.
A lot of more hands-on activities, a lot more about woodworking and what to do, how to make a career for myself.
It's not only for guys. I am actually learning how to make cupboards and put everything together, like doors, cabinets. It's really fun, actually.
Yeah, well, It's really amazing to see their growth over the course of a year and how they can come in with no real skill at all and leave being able to actually produce furniture and cabinetry.
Houses need cabinets, businesses, having a pool of resources or kids that have some knowledge in the industry would be real good.
Pull down on that. Let's slide these up. Watch fingers.
It's changed a lot. What I'm seeing here is what it's going towards. The CNC equipment, computers. I could actually build cabinets out of this shop. It's state of the art. It really is.
I am constantly looking for students that have been through these programs. It's always nice to have a person that has some experience. It's a lot easier to train. I think we're fortunate in Bakersfield that the Kern High School District has invested in a program like this. I would encourage other businesses to partner up with the Kern High School District like I've done here, because this really shows you what can be done if business comes together with the Kern High School District.
This is where we're going to train the kids to actually get jobs in the industry. We're going to give them the basic tools that they need, also the skills that they need to understand where they fit into the industry.
All the animated things, because we have everything that we need in the scenes.
They are learning the principles of animation, Photoshop. They're learning how to animate in 2D and 3D. And when you swap to that shape, then you're just going to drag these over here.
The storyboard aspect of creating basically the skeleton of the story, and then just sort of directing people in my vision of what I want in the story. And it's also giving me the advantage of Mr. Pollard, since he's worked at so many companies, being able to put it in my resume and be like, this is the art direction I've received.
I was shearing my lamb for fair. I have 2 lambs.
This lamb is stubborn.
Taking care of animals is you feed them twice a day, make sure they have water, walk them, make sure they're ready for fair.
Vet science is the first year before you can actually go into animal science, and it's a lot of like hands-on with the different animals, and you get to learn different things such as giving shots, castrating, all that fun stuff. For me, wanting to be a vet when I'm older, it helped prepares me. All the stuff that I'm learning in ag is definitely going to help me.
I'm in ag communications. Anything that you see on the Facebook page is what we do, and pictures, and we do all the posters that are around campus, anything that just promotes ag.
Our students are all part of the FFA organization, and through that we have a chapter officer team. We do monthly chapter meetings because we're trying to get them involved outside of class so they can find something that they're interested in, and they need something that's going to hook them so that they're ready for life after high school.
In animal care, the students learn a variety of things, whether it's tools or terms. In the veterinary field, they learn about the skeletal systems, the animal nutrition, the housing, how to properly care for them. They also have the opportunity in the spring to actually go work at a veterinary hospital or at an animal shelter or a grooming salon.
Animal restraint, weight and temperature, pulse, respiration, all of that I learned here.
They take a state certified test, and if they pass, they become a certified vet assistant right out of high school.
It's always hands-on, and so I think that's what really helps us is that we're not just getting it from a textbook, we're actually doing these things, and we're actually practicing these things that we'll be doing in our future careers.
It's wicked cool. It's our new aviation class. It gives kids a chance to break into the industry. There's a lot of careers in aviation. This class is a lot more than just flying planes.
We've learned so much already. We've learned how to take off. We've learned instrument flight rules. It's something everyone can do, I think.
Good. And you see, remember that horizon? Try to keep it parallel to your cockpit.
After the 2-year program, they're going to be able to take the knowledge test for their private pilot exam. I am a pilot. I've been in Bakersfield for 10 years. I worked as an instructor for 6 years and then became a corporate pilot. And I'm a teacher here. We have amazing equipment. Even flight schools don't have that much equipment.
You put a class like this somewhere at North High, and it's really preparing kids to succeed because it gives them a whole new set of opportunities they never knew that they had a chance to pursue. I'm proud to say that I'm from North High School and that we have administration that's willing to put the money into offering really, really neat programs like this and preparing kids to succeed.
We're in manufacturing engineering. We design parts, 3D parts, 2D parts, we create assemblies.
It's helping me get training in all of this stuff, like the computer programs that we have here, the machines that we have here. We learn a lot of math in here, mostly geometry and fractions, because I love math. That's why I'm in this class.
Mr. Lemmy, he's a great instructor.
So the problem is this piece itself.
He really goes hands-on with us. He helps us as much as we can. We've learned a lot from him.
Right now we're supplying students that are skilled in the safety, basic operation of machine work, and then they also leave with some soft skills. They understand they have to be on time, They understand that they have to get up and talk to people. Most of them are walking out of here with a solid foundation in the entry level of a trade.
They can have a job anywhere they go because they have a basic understanding of what it's going to take to put products out that people are going to use.
Hopefully this is a good career for me. End up doing something good, have a good life, and make some money.
Well, we're learning a lot, and especially with just the basic knowledge of what you would need for an entry-level job.
All the basic skills to be a medical assistant in a doctor's office or a clinic.
You're leaning on it, and that'll make a difference.
And then they also do on-the-job training, and they work in doctor's offices or clinics throughout Kern County. The kids are job ready, and many of them are employed before the end of the school year. They're promised a job, as well as they continue their education. We have many registered nurses out there and even physicians.
I'm thinking I want to be an anesthesiologist. So a lot of school, but it'll be worth it in the end. We're learning the different roles, what a game designer is, what they do, and how video games are made, and how to deconstruct them.
We're also going to be teaching the hard skills, which includes learning the Unreal Engine. And what the Unreal Engine is it's a game development tool that students will be able to use to make their very own video games. And this is something that actually industry professionals use every day to make some of the top-selling games. They're all the same size. You're all on the same plane. There's no undulating terrain or anything like that.
Our instructor, he's really amazing. He encourages everybody. He's really fun, and he makes learning fun.
So they've got top-of-the-line computers here, and they're set up to excel. I would be surprised if other students their age coming out of high school would have anywhere near the level of expertise that these guys are going to have.
A lot of more hands-on activities, a lot more about woodworking and what to do, how to make a career for myself.
It's not only for guys. I am actually learning how to make cupboards and put everything together, like doors, cabinets. It's really fun, actually.
Yeah, well, It's really amazing to see their growth over the course of a year and how they can come in with no real skill at all and leave being able to actually produce furniture and cabinetry.
Houses need cabinets, businesses having a pool of resources or kids that have some knowledge in the industry would be real good.
Pull down on that. Let's slide these up. Watch fingers.
It's changed a lot. What I'm seeing here is what it's going towards. The CNC equipment, computers. I could actually build cabinets out of this shop. It's state of the art. It really is.
I am constantly looking for students that have been through these programs. It's always nice to have a person that has some experience. It's a lot easier to train. I think we're fortunate in Bakersfield that the Kern High School District has invested in a program like this. I would encourage other businesses to partner up with the Kern High School District like I've done here, because this really shows you what can be done if business comes together with the Kern High School District.
We are these fields. We are these roots. We see the beauty in the everyday, with pride from where we came. We look ahead, to the places that pull us together, to the places that we call home. A new chapter begins now. Kern Schools Federal Credit Union is now Valley Strong Credit Union. Grow your possibilities. Visit valleystrong.com/grow to learn more. We are these fields. We are these roots. We see the beauty in the everyday, with pride from where we came. We look ahead to the places that pull us together, to the places that we call home. A new chapter begins now. Kern Schools Federal Credit Union is now Valley Strong Credit Union. Grow your possibilities. Visit valleystrong.com/grow to learn more.
There we go.
I got you.
Yes, we do.
You got me?
Yep. I got
We are these fields. We are these roots. We see the beauty in the everyday, with pride from where we came. We look ahead, to the places that pull us together, to the places that we call home. A new chapter begins now. Kern Schools Federal Credit Union is now Valley Strong Credit Union. Grow your possibilities. Visit valleystrong.com/grow to learn more.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Kern High Network Football, live from Highland High School as the Highland Scots host the Shafter Generals. I am Kenny Calvin, joined by my co-pilot tonight, Coach Rich Corford. Dr. Julian Wilson on producer-director duties. Is going to be an amazing night. We want to thank the Highland staff for accommodating us tonight. Special shout-out to Principal Deborah Vigstrom, Athletic Director Justin Fitch, Athletic Trainer Kenny Knight, and also our Kern High Network staff, Boss Stan Green, Kern High School District Superintendents, and Valley Strong Credit Union. We're in for an exciting night. We'll see one of the best quarterbacks in the Valley, as well as some think one of the best running backs in the Valley in Juarez from Highland. Coach Cornford, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Kenny. Great night for football. A little late, but feels great out here.
Friday Night Lights, a special thing for you and the family. You get to watch your son, who's part of the staff of Highland, get it in. But it's like you said, these coaches and these fans expect a nice battle tonight, and it's a packed house in the Highland side of the football field.
Well, these are two of the top teams in Bakersfield. Highland consistently dominates the Southeast Yosemite League, and Shafter's been dominating the South Sequoia League ever since Gerald Perucci came back to his old hometown. So pretty good rivalries developed here, and two of the best offenses I think we'll see all year.
Highland trying to replace an amazing arm in A.J. Cleveland. They have a guy in JoJo Mata who's been transitioned to a starting role, but is also probably one of their best players on defense. Shafter, you got a Tyson Dozier who's dealing with a short-handed team, and we'll talk about some of that right after we take part in the greatest national anthem in the world. And after that national anthem is played, I can't do nothing but celebrate my son, who was promoted to sergeant today. So congratulations, Kamani. MP in the Army down at Fort Stewart. But tonight it's about Kern High Network football. Kenny Calvin and Rich Cornford on the call. You got the Highland Scots faithful getting ready to do the wave. You got the guys from Shafter coming across the Kern County atmosphere to get it in on the east side. I'm in for a show tonight, Coach Cornford.
We're in for a great show. Highland wasn't tested a whole lot last week by Arvin, but they're going to be tested tonight by Shafter. Again, I think Perucci is one of the top 2 or 3 coaches in town. What he'd done, at Bakersfield Christian and then coming to Shafter and really turning him into a powerhouse. And then, again, can't say enough about Micah Chairs and his Highland Scots. This place used to struggle in football for forever until Micah Chairs got here. And, he's created a winning tradition here. He's got these kids believing, and they're playing awful good football.
Changing the culture of football. You talked about some great names. Perucci, one of the perennial names in Kern County football lore. I've been waiting to see Shafter live for about 3 years. I never got an assignment, so I'm excited. I've been friends with the dad of the quarterback since he was an actual youth football player, and I've been excited to see what he actually has live in action. But I'm definitely excited to see how Highland's going to transition to a role without one guy who everybody was focused on in A.J. Cleveland. I covered about 3 or 4 games for Highland over the last 2 to 3 years, and he was always the talk of the town because he deserved it. Now it's interesting to see how they're going to transition. They had a great running game last week against Arvin. One thing we know about Arvin, they play tough. So to get 200-yard rushers, you definitely had to be efficient on offense. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do on the offensive side of the ball as well. But what are you looking forward to, Coach?
Well, it's been a couple of years since I watched Shafter, but when you watch Shafter, it's a great quarterback-friendly offense that Perucci runs, and his quarterbacks consistently put up great numbers, which also tells you that they do a good job, molding them and adapting the system to each quarterback they have. So this will be my first time seeing Tyson Dozier live, so I'm real excited about that.
All right, kick is up, and we're off, and this looks like it's going to be taken at the 20. What can Highland do? Oh, great coverage by the Shafter Generals. Nothing on the return, and it's going to be brought out for a 1-yard return. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Scots heading north.
You mentioned that JoJo Mata does a little bit of everything, offense, defense. That was him returning that kick. So they're asking a lot of the kid. He hasn't played quarterback before, to my knowledge. Last week was his first game, but he ran for 160 yards and a couple touchdowns. So that's real exciting to see him there. And then, watching him throw the ball in warm-ups, he looked pretty darn efficient. I know it's a little bit different when you got bullets flying at you, but I was impressed with his arm and his accuracy.
Well, I'm glad you got to go down there and get that first-hand look. As we see Highland come out in the shotgun double set, this crowd is hyped. Drop back pass, and they're going with the out, and this is going to be incomplete. Combo route, something short, something deep. Outside receiver just clearing.
Yeah, threw that to Manny Valletta, who had all their receptions last week.
Wow.
He was a kid that didn't play in the spring. He was a baseball player. So he's their top target coming out, and you see very first play, they're trying to get the passing game going.
Definitely an amazing baseball tradition with these Highland football players as they go with the RPO read option. They've had Salas go play as a baseball player after being a stout Highland football player. They had A.J. Cleveland go and get a baseball scholarship. You got to wonder, is our next guy up?
Well, I'm seeing right now that Shafter struggling a little bit with Highland's tempo. They were fortunate that Highland kept the ball on the ground that play because there were some receivers that had very, very loose coverage as the DBs, were still working to get out to him. So seeing the next drive that Highland has if they try to take advantage of that tempo.
Right, and you see that tempo worked against them that time. They weren't able to get that third down converted, but great job by Shafter forcing the 3 and out to start the game, and that's what you're going to have to do against a stout Highland offense. 4th and 5. Nice snap. Oh, and the ball is off the helmet. And that's going to be dead at the 40.
That's JoJo Mata punting also.
Mr. Do-It-All.
Yeah. Now, hitting the helmet like that, that's called an illegal touch, and it's one of the things we always try to stress on special teams. If you're the return guy and it hits one of their players accidentally, pick that thing up and go because it can't hurt you. The worst thing to happen is you get the ball right there at the 40-yard line. So we always tried to take advantage of that with teams that didn't do a great job of, they maybe touch the ball down or something.
Nice insight, Coach. Shotgun double set for Tyson Dozier, one of the hottest quarterbacks over the last year. Went undefeated in that spring season. And they're going inside run. Nice 9-yard run, maybe 8.
Yeah, that was senior Elijah Lucero, who's going to see a lot of time at running back. Walker Mino, that their starting running back, is out hurt. So watch for the senior to have a lot of carries, and he's a good grinder, a Larry Zonka type.
And here's the tempo by Shafter and Dozier. He keeps it. He's right at the sticks. And speaking of Dozier, he had 130 on the ground, 130 in the air. So we talked about the precise arm and his ability to lead from the pocket, but he can also hurt you out on the edges.
Well, at 6'2", 205, he's a bear to bring down. He's a big kid, bigger than I thought.
Definitely bigger than I thought, Coach. We got movement.
It's interesting already, Kenny. We're seeing both teams use a pretty good tempo here, yet, both rosters are somewhat small and have guys going both ways. So conditioning is going to be vital in this game. I can tell you that already.
Absolutely, and that's a testament to some great coaching, too, because if you have teams that can go that up-tempo style with a short roster, you got some very disciplined guys. But there's that arm of Tyson Dozier out to the slot.
Yeah, that's going to be Devin Sumlin. He was the 100-meter champion in the area this year. Ran 10.9.
Wow.
So anytime you're breaking 11, that's pretty good speed. And doing that as a junior on a short track season. And he's got height. So look out.
Well, I want to say my fastest 100 was about a 10.8 as that ball was incomplete. Receiver not on the same page with Tyson, but Coach, I got to be straight up with you. I was a hurdle guy. I never ran faster than 10.8, so he was moving.
10.8's pretty darn fast.
Oh, yeah.
I'd have to be on a 10 speed to do that.
Well, hey, when you grow up with guys that are running 10.3 in high school like Marcus Hollowell and Brian Howard, 10.8 seems sluggish slow.
Boy, that Marcus Hollowell was something to watch at West High, especially the relays that they'd have, because the rest of the team was okay, but that cat could fly.
Shout out to Marcus Hollowell, one of the greatest Vikings of all time, and we'll touch on some of your history as a Viking coach. I coached some of your former players. We definitely have to highlight some of that. Shotgun double set for the Shafter Generals. 3rd and about 6. There's no safety in the middle of the field, and you got to know Dozier is loving that, but they go swing route. Still on his feet across the 5-yard line. Wow, amazing effort. A little bit of yak, yards after contact and the catch.
Yeah, there we see Sundgren again, and the ability to break tackles on top of that speed. I think you got a guy that can play on Saturdays.
Well, you hear so much about Tyson. You didn't know he had those kind of weapons on the outside, but we're seeing that right away. Trips open set. And they go with that dive. And he's still on his feet, and that's going to be touchdown Shafter Generals right away.
Yeah, that was Lucero again, just taking it right up the gut. Great, well-balanced drive by the Shafter Generals to open things up. Ran the ball well, threw the ball extremely efficiently, protected the quarterback real well, which was a problem last week versus West.
And now they're coming out in a little bit of swing and gate for this 2-point opportunity. You got Dozier playing a little bit of check with me as they adjust the clock. But now they're bringing it back in.
You know what a swing gate does for you is it occupies the opponent's practice time. And you may rarely snap it out there and do something fancy, but they've got to put 20 minutes of practice time in for something you may or may not actually use.
Kick is up. Kick is good. Great pressure off the edge. And it is Shafter with the first opening score, 7 over the Highland Scots. Nothing. So, Coach, you just talked about practice time, being prepared for dynamic offenses. You throw things in there like that as somewhat of a chess match just to see how you're going to match up with it. It's great insight to a team that actually just showed you how balanced they are from the offensive perspective. You're going to have your best test going against the Shafter offense.
Yeah, when you've got a receiver like Sundgren, and a team that throws the ball like Shafter, you got to double him. And when you double that guy, that loosens the box up and opens up the run. So you got to choose your poison.
Wow.
Over there. So, great luxury to have a quarterback-receiver combination, plus an effective job running the ball there by Lucero.
Absolutely.
That balance is very tough for a defense when you've got some star players that you got to defend.
Absolutely. And, being that I'm so close with some of the parents on both sides of the football, nothing like finally getting to see a team for the first time because you get to find out all the other jewels that exist in the offense to make a team successful. Yes, the quarterback gets a lot of praise, but ultimately, it's a team effort, and that was a great example of that in that first drive by the Shafter Generals.
Unless I'm counting wrong, Highland only had 10 guys out there for the kickoff return.
Yeah, and it looks like you're right, Coach, and that's one of the things that is definitely a struggle for not returners, I would say, the up-and-coming guys that are transitioning to the level of leadership, getting guys on the same page and getting lined up. You don't want to go down early, 14-0 to a Shafter Generals team, or it can get ugly fast.
Yes, Perucci knows how to put the pedal down, kind of all gas, no brakes for that Shafter offense.
1st and 10 for the Scots. Quick 3 and out on the first drive. Let's see if they can get some balanced offense going as they go trips open set with the pistol formation. Nice defense by the defensive line. Great penetration.
Shafter is definitely trying to tell Highland, you better throw the ball because we're not going to let you run it. With the number of guys they've got in the box, one of them, Tatum, 5'7", 290-pound nose guard. He's a linebacker's best friend, I'll tell you.
Absolutely. Shotgun snap, and there's pressure, and that's that D-line again, and that's a huge loss, and that's going to be a personal foul as he slammed him to the ground. You don't like it as a fan, but that's the call. And I'm just going to say, I'm a former defensive player. I hate those calls, but it's kind of done to protect the players in this new era of football. And that's exactly what that call is going to be.
Well, you know who made the tackle? It was Tyson Dozier, the other team's quarterback.
Wow.
So I don't know if I've ever seen a roughing the quarterback on a quarterback call there. So.
See, hey, we're learning something new. All we've heard is about how good this guy's arm is, and now he's body slamming cats.
Well, when I was talking to Coach Perucci earlier, he was telling me what a tough kid he is, and boy, howdy, I believe it.
Wow. Very unfortunate because it's an actual play that's within the motion. You got a quarterback trying to get out of your grasp.
Correction, 35.
And I don't know, Coach. I don't know.
As a linebacker, I disagree with that call.
Hey, you got two defensive coaches in the booth. We both disagree. 1st and 10, Highland.
Hurtado's a slippery sucker. You got to wrap him up and to get him down. So
absolutely.
Or Mata, sorry.
And he keeps it, and that defensive line is hungry.
Yeah, they watched the film versus Arvin. They saw that he had 160 yards, and that he's very good at that read option. So they're keeping that extra guy in the box, going to make life very difficult on the running game.
And I like what I see up front from that defensive line. They're not even allowing the linebackers to get an opportunity at the moment.
Well, a key player for Highland is going to be their center, Andrew Turney. He's the leader really on both sides of the ball. Doesn't say much, but he leads by example. He had 9 tackles last week for him.
Wow.
Plays center for him. He's 6'3", 245.
Wow.
So it definitely passes the eye test, and, that's their guy. So he's going to need to get that offensive line saying, hey, it doesn't matter how many they have in the box. We've got to move some people.
Absolutely. We have a timeout. Highland, 8:45 remaining to play. Coach Gutierrez trying to get on the same page with his offense. It's a 2nd and 11. You definitely want to get something out of this opportunity to create a makeable 3rd down conversion.
Yeah, if you could pick up 4 or 5 yards on this, make it 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, that allows you to really run your entire offense on 3rd down rather than being forced to throw, because Highland does not want to be forced to throw with an inexperienced quarterback.
Absolutely. And if you just tuned in, there is no longer an A.J. Cleveland for the Highland Scots, so they're finding out what they're made of against a good Shafter Generals football team. But right now I'm looking at DBs playing 10 yards off. You might want to try to take a shot, but how can you when there's no time and the ball is loose? An amazing penetration once again by the Shafter Generals defensive line, and they are dominating this football game early in the first quarter.
Well, they're playing man coverage with no free safety, so that allows you 7 potential rushers when you do that. It's the 85 Chicago Bears.
Absolutely.
Right over there.
Woo,
and you better get the ball out quick.
You took it back right there. I was a huge Bear fan.
That was Wilbur Marshall on the side.
So now you got that safety finally creeping back out there, Devon Sunger. This is our first time seeing a traditional free safety look, a 3-deep look.
Yeah, 3rd and 15. I think they're going to give them a little something short, but nothing deep.
Oh, and they go with that inside draw, and he makes one miss. Amazing effort and an amazing stiff arm. And that looks like Juarez. And his dad was up here earlier. He told me, watch out for my son. He was a 3-time national or world judo champ. So he's one of the toughest people on the field.
All right, glad you told me that. I won't mess with that kid.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched him play last year. He was at BHS playing JV for them, and I don't think any of the Ridgeview kids could tackle him. And, varsity kids are having a tough time tackling him here too. So Good run there, but we still 4th and 8. Highland's going to have to punt again.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate because that Shafter offense looked very crispy on that first drive. 4th and 7. And last year, Highland had a ton of trouble with their long snapper. It's good to see him just get a couple back and get some punts off. Sundgren tried to get to that.
Don't want to do that.
And that's going to be down at the 27-yard line. First quarter action. Highland Scots with 2 empty first drives. Kenny Calvin and Rich Cornford, joined by our producer-director, Dr. Julian Wilson, one of the greatest Fresno State Bulldogs of all time. I'm surrounded by some legends tonight. Speaking of legends, Coach Cornford, I had an opportunity to see my former defensive coordinator walk up the steps and go in with some spotter duty, Coach Hartnett.
Tim Hartnett, yeah, I saw Tim. Tim, one of those guys when I was a young coach, watching him, the way he conducted himself, the way he was with his players and his other coaches, I really, really respected him. I got a good chance to talk to him before the game, too, and tell him that.
I'll run through a brick wall for that man. 1st and 10 for Shafter. Trips open set, a little rocket motion. Dozier with the quick out, and he's looking crispy. That's complete. Oh, we have a late flag back here, and that might actually be a little bit of a roughing the passer.
Yeah, and Sundgren almost broke that last tackle, too. I think we're going to be calling their names an awful lot tonight.
And it definitely was a roughing the passer. Late contact on Tyson Dozier. The ball was out well beyond the defender coming in and getting some contact. I didn't see the contact. But nonetheless, the white hat caused a personal foul, roughing the passer, and that's what you don't want to do if you're the Highland Scots.
Well, I think the referees have already set the precedence that they're going to protect both of these quarterbacks, as we've seen a call go each way here.
Yeah, definitely. You got 2 premier quarterbacks, but you see that tempo from Shafter. They're loving it. Free money, 15 yards, and now they're right back in that shotgun double set.
So you see Highland rolling the safety towards Sundgren to try and give some deep help.
Absolutely. That double coverage that you highlighted, and as that defensive back that's lined up on him, you're shaded to the outside, so your responsibility is more protecting the outside of his right shoulder. Oh, and Dozier keeps it, and he has some daylight. On that RPO option, he gets around him, around the edge, still tight roping, and he's going to be pushed out. Oh, and that was a flag. They're going to get him for a late hit, but I don't know because he's still tight roping the sideline all the way down to the 21-yard line. So I'm all about protecting the quarterback, but if that's going to be a personal foul, I might have to disagree.
Yeah, Dozier's pretty good, but they're treating him like Tom Brady a little bit here. Can't hit the guy.
Kern County royalty, baby. Yeah, because that was a little light. Coach, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, as a defender, you got the guy's running down the sideline. He might have stepped out of bounds, but there'd been no whistle blown. He's still going full speed, so you got to hit him.
Yeah, and one thing I won't do too much is badger our officials, because I heard yesterday that we're short, and that's the reason why we had a Thursday game, because there's not enough officials to officiate games. So, it may be a little rust on some of those guys, and we'll give them that benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, they do a great job, and we're very fortunate in Kern County to have such a great officiating staff. And the easiest thing in the world to do is second-guess somebody who's out there on the field. So, we'll call it like we see it,
right.
But these guys do a fantastic job.
Right, because what I said last night, Coach, I was like, they are accepting applications
for
some of these parents.
After I was done playing ball at Baylor, I officiated a year there out of Waco, Texas. Had a lot of fun.
Shotgun double set. We'll highlight some of that Baylor career as well, as we see Tyson wrangled very well by that pursuing defensive line. So, Coach, you were a Texas college guy. I was a Southwest Arkansas college guy. How'd you like the transition in playing in that area?
Well, I'll tell you what, there's nothing like Texas football. It is literally a religion out there. The high schools are run like college programs.
Absolutely.
And that's, 3A, 500 student high schools have their own strength coaches and things out there. It's an amazing thing. And I might end up retiring and going out there someday.
Yeah, you sound like me. Trips open set for Dozier, and he going with that quick out again to Sundgren. Oh, and he has some wheels, but we do have a flag thrown from the back judge. And why they figured that out, I'll talk about half of my roster was Texas guys, right? So, season's over, you get to go home and hang out with them for the holidays or sneak down during Thanksgiving. We go to a couple of high school games, man, and it was huge. It felt like college atmosphere at some of those high school games in Texas, man.
It's a different world. I spent part of my summer break catching catfish on the Red River there.
I saw that.
That was a lot of fun. My buddy, who we all call Catfish, we have some wild stories of when we were catching rattlesnakes and stuff like that. Ain't nothing like Texas.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got to tell you, man, that Arkansas life, I loved everything about it except that humidity. I lost about 25 pounds in my first 90 days in Arkansas. Had to put it all back on and muscle.
Wow.
But I did my first fishing in Arkansas. No joke.
All right, this is a big play. That was a big flag for Shafter, putting them back into a 3rd and long here.
Yeah, 3rd and long at the right time, and they got motion. They're going with that quick screen. Nice setup, and he makes one miss. Wow, gets a nice about 12-yard gain out of the quick screen, and that's going to be 4th and short. What do you do here, Coach?
Well, they're going to go for it. Their kicking game didn't look great when they did kick that extra point, so this is automatic that they'll go for the first down here. They got a lot of weapons out there.
Right, they got weapons out there, and we talking about fishing. Trips open set.
And they gave him a free one.
That tempo.
Yeah.
That tempo, that veteran leadership in Tyson Dozier. The offense looked very in sync, and they get that encroachment call, and that's going to be a first down at the worst time for the Highland Scots.
One of the things Coach Perucci told me just to watch for is that they really struggled with their execution against West High, and that they were going to try and simplify some schemes and move Sundgren around so that they could hit him in different spots. And this looks like the Shafter of old with the way they're executing their offense right now.
Absolutely. One of the things my buddy Chris Dozier said is that they had 6 seniors out. It's going to be hard to maintain, and have consistency when you're replacing guys of that magnitude. So it's good to see that they've transitioned into the next week by playing a better brand of football through the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, for being this early in the season and for them to look this efficient, boy, Highland's defensive coordinator's got to be scratching his head, because what do? You pack the middle, they hit you outside, you overplay one player, and they take it right up the middle.
Absolutely, and now they got that trips bunch set with this wide split. You can usually expect run, and that's exactly what you're going to get out of Tyson Dozier as he goes with the quarterback sneak. Ball comes loose. Highland may have made a play to save themselves. And let's see, and it looks like Highland with the turnover as they strip Dozier on the keeper. Huge play.
Wow. That
by
was
the Scots.
Last week the exact same thing happened to Shafter. They fumbled the ball at the 1-yard line against West in a game that ended up being decided by a touchdown. So,
wow.
Coach Perucci's got to remind him to cover that ball up.
Unfortunate chain of events after a crispy drive. We talked about how well and efficient they've been. Had the yardage you need on that kind of play, but great effort by the defensive line.
Yeah, and this game is all about the ball. You got to keep it till you score, and they kept it to the 6-inch line, but that's not enough.
Great point, Coach. Amazing stop by the Highland Scots defense, and we have a timeout on the field. Shafter going to get it together. We'll take a quick break with 4:40 remaining to play on Kern High Network Football right after this.
We are these fields. We are these roots. We see the beauty in the everyday, with pride from where we came. We look ahead to the places that pull us together, to the places that we call home. A new chapter begins now. Kern Schools Federal Credit Union is now Valley Strong Credit Union. Grow your possibilities. Visit valleystrong.com/grow to learn more.
Welcome back to Highland High School. Scots coming off an amazing goal line stance to get the turnover as Dozier fumbles. And now they have the trips open bunch set that they just defended to get the ball back. Quick screen thrown outside. Nice gain. It's going to be taken out at about the 27-yard line, where it'll be 2nd and 3.
Yeah, that's a great start to this drive because they've been struggling their first two, getting 7 yards, getting good receiver blocks out there, and a good job of getting positive yardage by the receiver.
Well, I guess after you had to face Andrew Turney in between those tackles, you kind of got to figure out something else to get those chains moving. Trips open set, pistol formation for Mata. Oh, and we have a flag. Oh, and we have a false start, and that's what you don't want to do after that good gain on first down.
Illegal procedure against the Scots.
Yeah. Yeah, that takes a little momentum from you too, but we'll see what they got dialed up here. They do. I mean, they've got one-on-one coverage. If you can find a stud receiver and let them put the ball up there, you could have a chance for a big play here.
Yeah, you got Armando Loera down here manned up. Loera, I should say. Sorry about that, Mom and Dad. But trips open set, and he's manned up on his backside against this receiver. And it is a pass play, but there's not going to be any time for Mata as he's wrapped up after a 2-yard gain.
That was Mata off the right edge.
Yeah, just changing up the launch point makes it a little bit more difficult. I think plays to his strength as a runner over there. Didn't see anything open, so he picked up some positive yards. And, again, crazy critical 3rd down here.
Absolutely. Another trips open set. And look how tight the defensive backs are, and that is a reflection of that man coverage that we talked about, which means pressure may be coming off the edge.
Anxious to see what Dozier does here at outside backer, if he's blitzing or if he's going to stay in coverage.
Oh, and he stays. He's manned up with the back, and they're going at the one-on-one action over. And that's going to be incomplete,
Wow.
but you do have a flag. And there may be a little bit of an arm bar. And what's unfortunate is the fact that the only reason I think that flag came is because he wasn't playing the ball, Coach.
Yeah, that's why you got to have those linebackers yelling ball, 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 so he knows it's coming and he can turn his head and play that, because you will get away with it if you're playing the ball. But he, what they used to call face guarding in the old days, a little bit.
Absolutely. You got to give yourself a chance as a defensive back. Once you're running out there, you have to have a silent clock in your head. One of the things that we used to do is once I get past 2 seconds, I actually may want to give myself a little bit of a turn and tug with my backhand while I'm looking to make sure that I have contact with you, but also being able to play the ball. And he didn't do either, resulting in that penalty, which leads to a first down for Highland.
Yeah, tugging with that backhand lets you know if the receiver breaks on you while you're sneaking that peek.
Absolutely.
If you don't do that, they can make you look silly.
Oh, yeah. Trips open set. Love the confidence by the Shafter defense because they're right in your face, but that's going to be a straight quarterback power for Mata. No disguising that.
Yeah, following the lead block there of the running back. And again, that's, 3-yard gain on first down is a positive play. You're keeping yourself on schedule here.
Absolutely. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, as Coach Rick Van Horn would say. And the Scots playing a little check with me as they check in with Coach to see what's going on. Shotgun double set, 40 even front for the Generals. Mata with a little bit too much time, and he go ahead and skates out, and he's going to have a first down as he extends the play with his feet. I got a little nervous for him there, Coach, for a second. He looked a little too comfortable.
Yeah, the line did a great job of protecting him on that particular play. Looking down the field, I didn't see any particular receiver open, though when it's man-to-man, you can sometimes throw him open. But a positive play by JoJo there on to pick up another first down.
Absolutely, and you have to wonder if that stout defensive line that played so well early in the first quarter is starting to gas a little bit as Mata gets around the edge. 1st and 10 for the Scots.
that was a problem that Shafter faced last week versus West, as they got a little bit tired with so many guys going both ways.
Also heard they had about 3 of the guys that go both ways out for that game as well. Mata drops back. He has a man. He opens. Oh, and it's picked off. Nice interception, and this guy has speed to go all the way, and he's across the 40. Tackle made, game-saving tackle, touchdown-saving tackle, I should say. But that's an interception and an amazing job by the defense. And Sundgren.
Yeah, Sundgren can, when he's playing that free safety, he can cover sideline to sideline, as we saw there. Great effort by JoJo Mata to make the tackle on that play, because that kid running that fast is very hard to bring down.
Absolutely, and that was a nice route, but the ball was probably underthrown or thrown with a little bit too much air under it, because his wide receiver had a step, but that was just an amazing play by Sundgren, and it's to our point. Once you're out there, you have to play the football. Sundgren turns around right at the opportunistic time and makes the play. First down, Shafter.
Well, you know, Sundgren is a veteran, played both ways last year for him, had nearly 400 yards receiving in a short season. Well, the numbers that Shafter put up in a short season are mind-boggling.
Right.
Dozier accounted for 24 touchdowns in 4 or 5 games.
Lightning. Tyson Dozier back to pass, and they're going to take a shot, and right back to Sundgren. He has a step. Oh, and just outside the arm. Wide open.
Yeah, that's when you want to tell your quarterback to put more air on so that receiver can adjust to it a little bit better. He threw that pretty flat, and even though Sundgren can really fly, he overthrew him by a couple yards.
You have to wonder if he saw the pass that was previously thrown by the other quarterback and said, I'm going to make sure I don't put too much air under that. Nonetheless, incomplete pass for Dozier. You know he's looking to get back into the end zone after that fumble. Shotgun double set, and Dozier keeps it, but great job by the defensive line as they stop him for no gain.
Yeah, critical situation again. Going to put Dozier in a 3rd and 10. I think it's the second time we've seen him in 3rd and long. Last time they threw a little bubble screen out there and picked up about 12 yards. You know, the Shafter offense, again, it's so well run with so many facets of the game. You just really got to take your hat off to Coach Perucci and his staff for having this much offense in this early in the season.
Absolutely, because the Highland Scots defense is playing pretty well as Sundgren takes the jet sweep. He's been pretty busy in this first quarter. 1:30 remaining to play. Kenny Calvin and Rich Cornford on the Kern High Network. We definitely want to thank the Highland administration as well as our Kern High Network staff, our boss Stan Green, the Kern High School District Superintendents, and our Valley Strong Credit Union sponsors. We appreciate everything you do.
4th and 4 here. Watch for him to move Sundgren around. I mean, he's obviously going to be the main target, but you got a good back there and a great quarterback along the way too. So,
what I like about Sundgren is that they put him in multiple positions. They'll put him at the slot. Oh, the quick slant is dropped, and that's going to be incomplete and turnover on downs. Great job by the Highland defense. And you got to wonder how many opportunities can the Shafter Generals squander away before this lead is evened up.
Boy, they had some yardage there. Figueroa is a second fastest player on the team, and they had him for some good yards after the catch. Highland very fortunate to get away with that one.
Absolutely, but you got to love the resiliency.
Now, last drive was Highland's most effective of the night. Ended with that interception. Let's see if they can, though, build on some things and continue to move the chains.
Absolutely. You would think that they would get back to the beast Adrian Juarez and give him an opportunity to run the football after he's had some good runs with a couple of highlights. But nonetheless, you got to stay balanced. Trips open set. 1st and 10 for the Scots. And they're moving that pocket, as you said, Coach, and it's complete on the out. Oh, and that should be
slinging him down there.
Right. I mean, how much different is that than the swing down earlier that we saw?
Diego Duenas there on that reception, his first catch of the year. And again, a good job by Highland, changing the launch point for JoJo and picking up a first down.
And you see the dad of Juarez. He's pacing the sideline. Oh, and that was almost a mishandled snap. Great job by Juarez just to keep it.
They were very fortunate there that ball ended up in his hands.
Wow. I saw that bobble twice before he secured it. Nonetheless, that's going to be second down and 10 for the Scots.
So we saw that first drive, Shafter's defense was getting in a huddle, and I had mentioned that Highland might be able to get him. They've stopped huddling now so that they don't have to deal with that dilemma that the tempo can cause. A lot of guys in that box.
Spread set for the Scots. And Mata's going to keep it, and he's going to be tackled in the backfield, and that's amazing containment by Tyson Dozier. Stayed disciplined, didn't let him shift back outside. And that may be the last play of the first quarter as we wind down with 6 seconds left. Shafter Generals up over the Scots.
And that is going to be the end of the first
We'll be right back.
play, ladies and gentlemen.
Eating a taco with a fork.
Welcome back to Highland High School as the Scots trail the Generals. If you're wondering what's going on in the background, me and Coach Corford are trying to sneak a taco break in between quarters.
I got caught.
Spread set for Highland. It's 3rd and long. You got Mata. He has a man.
Deflected there at the line of scrimmage.
Wow, deflected and caught by the lineman. It should be illegal touching unless it was touched by the defense first.
I think it was the defense first.
Okay, and that's going to be 4th down for the Scots, and they just can't find a way to move the chains, Coach.
Yeah, this Shafter defense, they obviously did a great job scouting Highland. They knew that Highland ran for over 300 yards last week, but only threw for 24. So they are pushing everybody up tight to the line of scrimmage, saying Highland's going to have to go over the top on them.
Oh, low snap, and we talked about the snapping problems last year that Highland had. Oh, and that's going to bounce deep into the end zone where it'll be a touchback. We talk about how impressive Dozier is on the offensive level for the last 2 years. In the spring season, he had phenomenal numbers. I want to say he had an 8-touchdown game.
Ooh.
But tonight, it seems like he's having more of an impact on the defensive side of the football as well so far.
Well, just goes to testament of what a great athlete he is. I mean, for a quarterback of that caliber that can put up those kind of numbers, to be playing outside linebacker on your defense and not just playing it, but really dominating from that position. I mean, man, if I'm a coach at college, I'm saying that's the kind of kid I want taking snaps for me that's that tough.
Absolutely, because, I mean, I've worked as a recruiter before and sat in high school stadiums. Most star quarterbacks of his caliber don't play any defense unless your name is Asani Rufus or somebody. Nonetheless, 1st and 10 for the Generals. And let's see what Dozier can do on the offensive side of the football, and he gets one after the keeper.
Well, the Highland defense really seems to have settled into things, too. They've made adjustments. Great job by their defensive coordinator. And the yards aren't coming nearly as easy as they did that first drive for Shafter.
Absolutely. You know, we talked about quarterbacks that played high-level defense. Lawrence White was another quarterback in high school that was no slouch on the defensive side of the football, and that's why he's getting paid the big bucks right now down there in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Lawrence played for Ridgeview under Dennis Manning and then went to Iowa State where he was a star in the Big 12 Conference.
Sundgren on the out, and he is amazing after the catch.
I'm really impressed with his fight. Got a little spit and vinegar there. Sometimes those track guys are track guys.
Right.
But he's a football player that runs track.
Absolutely. He kind of reminds me of a Derek Vickers in the way he's explosive after the catch. Derek Vickers was one of the most explosive players I've seen catch that ball out of the slot. And Sundgren looks very much like Vickers as the Highland Scots jump for the third time in this first half and give them some free yards.
Yeah, and just, again, really critical situation there. Great job by Dozier controlling the snap count and his cadence with hard counts and ghost counts. Highland's got to get that call out to their guys that we used to call it burger, burger, burger. It meant don't bite,
I like that one, Coach.
Great job by Shafter getting some free yardage there.
Absolutely, and you do not want to give free yardage to an offense as explosive as this. And they go RPO, and that offense just busted a nice one for about 7 yards. It's going to be second and about 3.
Yeah, and these tempo teams, when they get that first down, they're double dangerous. For whatever reason, just psychologically as a defense, I think it affects you, and it helps them to get in that groove and get that pace going. So we'll see if Highland can make a solid play here to at least force Shafter in another third down.
Trips open set, and as we stated, tight man coverage by both teams. And we got a screen, and that's amazing pursuit, but he missed him. Oh, but how about the tackle on the play? Can we get a license plate on that truck?
Boy, well executed by Shafter, but even better executed by the Highland defense to make that tackle and open. And I'm wondering what this flag is for.
George Venegas.
Well, they called a hold.
Was the linebacker on that tackle. And, Coach, you as a former linebacker, you got to like that inside outfield.
You gotta love it. That's very difficult to do in that kind of space. You know, a linebacker like me, I like those tight spaces where guys didn't have a chance to put a juke move on me. But out there in open space, that's a great job of accelerating through the hit, too.
Wow.
Love to see that.
Oh, man, that's a hitter of the week candidate. Let me look down on the sideline, see if I see Greg. Oh, he sent his understudy tonight. Hometown Sports in the house.
Those guys work hard, man, hitting a couple games a night. Do a great job. We're lucky to have them, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Shout out to Hometown Sports. Dozier takes the snap. Highland with some pressure, but Dozier's still up. Oh, and he was still up. The ball was placed on the ground, but the knee never went down. Nonetheless, they blow him dead. But great pressure by the Highland Scots defensive line.
Yeah, and now, third and long, third and more than 15, but Shafter still scares me to death offensively with what they can do, because if you play off them, they're going to hit you on a little slip screen or something. If you play too tight, they'll throw it over the top, or if you spread too wide, they might even run a draw play.
Absolutely.
Interesting to see what they do here.
So we'll see what they got. Third and 15. Shotgun double set for Dozier. We'll talk about Hometown Sports and something special they got going after this play. And they go with the run, and that's going to be tackled immediately by the Scots. A great job by that Scots defense stepping up once again.
Yeah, conservative play call, but sometimes you do that because most of your turnovers are going to come off of third and long plays. So they'll be content. Their defense has been playing great. Punt the ball here, play defense again.
Absolutely. So we talk about Hometown Sports. Greg ain't in the house, but he got his understudy. That's fresh from Phoenix, Arizona. Met him a couple of weeks ago at the Renegade Media Day. Hometown Sports now has Hometown Heroes, where you can nominate law enforcement service member, EMT, fire department service member, or military service member for our Hometown Heroes. I nominated my son, of course. But that's exciting to see You know, because as players, when we were playing in this environment, all we wanted to do was be on Hometown Sports at the end of the night and on that Monday and get highlighted. So shout out to Hometown Sports.
Yeah, again, another one of those things about being in Bakersfield and the coverage, great coverage we get, not only by Greg Kerr, who's the best in the business, but by the other networks as well.
Absolutely.
Because these kids love to, you know, and their families love to get that glimpse of their son's highlights on TV.
My only gripe with the old school Hometown Sports, not enough defensive highlights, man. Always the offensive stuff. I get an interception and they'll show the touchdown that was made after my interception. Come on, guys. Let's get some picks, some sacks, and some helmets knocked off in those highlights.
Oh, those were the good old days when that could make the highlight film and not be a penalty.
Right. Oh, the good old days.
Well, Highland's going to get the ball in great field position here after that penalty, which was an unsportsmanlike conduct call. So getting the ball at midfield, hey, this game's just 7-0. Highland struggled to move the ball offensively, but they're right in the game.
Absolutely, Coach. One big play to get in it, and you're right where you want to be at midfield. You know, safeties for Shafter not playing too deep as well, but they're in the box because, hey, Highland had 2 running backs to go over 100 yards last week, so they go right back to that power.
Manny Valletta did a good job of cutting that time and picking up some solid yards.
Manny Valletta on the carry.
We've got one Highland Scot maybe cramping coming off here, which was a problem for them last week in the second quarter. They had multiple players cramp up against Arvin.
Absolutely, and it looks like Brian Quinto coming off, and it looks like they are stretching him for those cramps, and it is cramp time. Shotgun double set. Mata keeps it. He gets around the edge. Finally gets around. Oh, no, he doesn't get around Dozier. We talked about Dozier doing a great job keeping containment, and he grabs that jersey with his last fingernail, able to hang on to keep him from getting that first down.
Showed great grip strength right there to hang on.
We got the Mata family right below us. Shafter defensive line trying to stand strong, but it looks like they're going to give up a first down. And that's a great job by the Scots, earning the tough yards. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Highland with 6:31 remaining to play.
Yeah, really earning it in the trenches over there.
For a Highland first down.
Highland just put a big boy in. Number 77. Kaya Jackson, 260.
And you have to wonder if they're being conscious of how the game was won as that read zone goes outside and it's across the 30. He's going to get down to the 23-yard line, but great job by Highland. Starting to take a little page out of the West High Viking playbook and play a little ball control offense because you don't want to keep just throwing it and having to punt back to a Tyson Dozier offense.
Yeah, Juarez, great cut there on that inside zone running play. And like we talked about, you get that first down, things typically work better.
Absolutely. Jet sweep. And that's going to be handed off, but amazing pursuit once again. And that's a nice tackle on the play by Elijah Lucero, the 5'9", 190-pound senior.
One thing to look up, Dozier playing that outside backer spot. He got hit by that 260-pound lineman. They're taking him out right now. Looks like he might have dinged up his shoulder.
Uh-oh, and that's what, as a defensive end, you have to wrong arm some of that stuff at times, and you're putting that golden shoulder into about 290 pounds coming around there pulling. Oh, Mata, look, continue to shuffle. Oh, and huge hit inside. Amazing tackle by Jacob Saldana. Mata holding on to it a little long, and you can hear the crowd saying, throw it away. He doesn't, and he takes a lick.
All right. It says 3rd down on the sheet there. Oh, good run.
Counterplay to Juarez, and Juarez is showing improving. As his dad said it, he's one of the toughest kids in the world 3 times. And he just got about 12 yards and another first down.
Highland continuing to go with tempo, and they ran that right at the spot that Dozier was playing. With him not in there, he's going to watch him go left.
And Juarez right back into that B gap. And like you said, Coach, you see a player of that caliber go out, you immediately start taking advantage of his backup.
We say hammer that nail. There, just keep going to the same spot there.
2nd and goal. Spread set. And Mata keeps it. He's going to get outside, and Highland to the pylon, and they finally get in. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a football game as the Scots get their first scratch of the night.
Well, I think a great job by Coach Gutierrez and his staff recognizing that Dozier was out of the game. We already talked about how he was dominating the game from a defensive standpoint. When he went out, they went to the left side, and punched one in.
3 straight counters and powers to that left side of the football field, and this is a huge PAT for Highland because, like I said, they've had issues with their snap. We've seen one on the ground, and that's another low one, and it is no good.
Yeah, Mata's the kicker as well. He does a little bit of everything, but they only made 3 of 6 extra points last week versus Arvin, and you just saw the timing on that whole thing from snap to hold to kick was way off.
Right, and people underestimate the importance of special teams week in and week out. You get a great drive, potential game-tying drive, and you get down here and the simple things that are supposed to be simple in a fan's eyes don't look so simple as you miss that PAT and you're still trailing a good Shafter team that's going to get the football right back. Nonetheless, 4-10 on play in the first half. Generals up 7. Scott 6. Coach Cornford, how you liking this first half, and what do you think is going to transpire over the next 4 minutes from a Shafter perspective?
It's a great game, and we knew it would be. I was expecting a little bit more scoring. We've seen Shafter, fumble the ball at the 1. Now we've seen Highland miss an extra point here or there. But, this game's going to come down to conditioning. And sometimes it's not how many things you do well, but how many things you do poorly that comes back to get you. And we've seen these teams do an awful lot of things well, but we've seen some costly mistakes here in some critical situations.
Absolutely. A turnover on each side of the ball, leads to a 1-point football game. Now, for the Highland Scots, their defense has been playing a lot better brand of football through the second quarter as opposed to what happened in the first quarter. So let's see if they can keep that momentum going as they go sky kick.
Well, that ball was a lot closer to Sundgren than I think I would ever kick a football. Ended up going out of bounds. Be interesting to see if Shafter takes it 35. Looks like they will instead of having them kick again.
Absolutely. You wonder, from a Highland perspective, you went with that sky kick, like you said. That was very close to being caught and skated on out. Maybe trying a little squib kick opportunity to keep that ball on the ground and out of his hands, because that's a guy that can take it from here to Shafter within 10 seconds.
Yeah, very fast. I know when I had some great returners, and we had a few of them, I always made them kick again because I wanted my guys having a chance to touch the ball. And we worked an awful lot on those kind of pooch kicks, taking them right down the sideline by our upbacks there.
I coached some of your returners. We're going to talk about some of them when we get a chance. Spread set for the Generals. And if I'm not mistaken, that looks like a different quarterback, but we'll see. As they go zone, and that's a nice run on the play, and it looks like it was number 21, and I don't have a 21 on my roster.
That's Manny Marin. He's a little scat back sophomore that Ferrucci said would be getting some time. So our first look at him, and he looks fantastic.
Okay. Definitely. I got Manny Martin on my Max Prep roster. Trips open set. And I'm trying to get a number. Oh, and that is a backup quarterback in there as Martin gets the carry. We have Elijah Lucero who's in there for Tyson Dozier. So as we stated, Dozier being out there on defense looked like he wrong-armed one of those guards pulling on those counter traps.
It was that big 77 that's coming off the field right now. I mentioned it when he went in the game. Big fella's in. They used him to pull and kick out on him, and he got a good piece of him.
Kaya Jackson, son of Coach David Jackson for the Highland Scots. Oh, and still on his feet. Nice initial pressure by that defensive line of Highland, but great effort to try to avoid the mega loss. Still ends up with a good loss.
Well, now this is a situation that Shafter definitely doesn't want to be in. 3rd and long with their backup quarterback Lucero in, who's a real tough kid. We've seen him run the ball well inside, but I would be shocked if they put the ball in the air here.
Absolutely. I'd love to get a report on Dozier, but nonetheless, life goes on, and you got the backup in there with trips open set with a 3rd and 14. If you're Highland, you're definitely looking to try to bring some pressure, but Shafter knows that, so you may see a draw or a screen, and there's the draw.
Yeah,
great job.
Highland not biting, right? They know the situation. They're well coached. They understand without Dozier in there that ball was going to be on the ground, and now Shafter be forced to punt here on 4th and long. And with about 2 minutes left, Highland's going to take a timeout so that they can run their offense and maybe get some more points on the board.
2:06 remaining to play. Kern High Network football live from Highland High School. One of the things I always like to do is highlight some Highland greats from my time or whoever's playing. I like to highlight the greats from that period. When I was playing, the men on campus for the Highland Scots, you had a guy named Terrence Petty. He was a linebacker's linebacker. He had the old school neck roll, looking like a young Mike Singletary. But he was an amazing Highland Scot, went on to play at Northern Arizona University, and now he's a firefighter in the great state of Arizona.
All right. My dad's a retired firefighter, so special spot in my heart for them. Speaking of, my dad lives in Lompoc. Lompoc High is playing Rigetti, who is now in the central section.
Nice.
Kyle Wiley, our buddy, is a former Rigetti quarterback.
Nice.
But I'm pretty sure he knows that they've got no chance against Lompoc tonight.
Nice. You know, it's something about the culture and tradition of the game that allows us the chance to reflect on all those beautiful relationships. You know, seeing some of my coaches come up the stands, you know, having an opportunity to share your history and hearing you talk about your teammates and that bond that you have. Nothing like the game, you know, and the way that it's changed lives just gives me goosebumps. Honored to be part of the process.
That really is the truth. You know, my senior year of high school was a special year, playing with my best friends, you know, for life. And a few of us got together just in the spring to watch my buddy Sheldon Canley's son play, who's committed to San Diego State. And
amazing. That
was a real treat.
High snap. Oh, and a little pressure.
Looked like they deflected that a little bit. So great timeout by Coach Gutierrez, getting some pressure on the punt there. They got the ball at the 35-yard line with a couple timeouts left. We'll see what they can do with it.
Hey, one of offense's favorite parts of practice, 2-minute drill. 2 minutes on the clock, you trail on 1 point. Great opportunity to see what some of your young players have in the tank from the 2-minute offense perspective to give them an honest shot, because one thing you know is that, hey, Dozier wasn't in last series. Let's take advantage of some of those holes on defense, and you may see some extra shots down the field as the pressure lightens up a bit.
Yeah, and I think with Dozier not in, you're going to have to get a great pressure from number 55. He's playing the right defensive end spot there for Shafter. Good blocking by Highland.
Oh, quick hitch, looking before he caught it. Or looking to run before he caught it. Darren Maiden.
You know, one of the things when you play that one-on-one coverage, you throw that hitch, and if they miss the tackle, you're gone. So good play call there by the Scots, but just you got to catch it.
Absolutely, because when you're playing on a team that likes to run the football a lot, you better catch every opportunity you get, because there's no telling when it's going to come back that way. 2nd and 10. They go with the swing route. Nice, safe catching.
Wow.
Great job by Juarez, boy. I tell you, he loves to finish a run, Coach.
He is a physical runner. He's only 170 pounds, but that is 170 pounds of twisted steel, I'll tell you.
Man, 3-time world champion jiu-jitsu fighter.
All right, big first down here, because you don't want to give the ball back to Shafter with any time left on the clock.
Absolutely. Clock is ticking, too, so they do the right thing, and they go with the running play, and that's a nice run by Juarez, and he's still pounding away across the 50 to the 44-yard line.
Boy, again, you can't say enough about that kind of runner. So physical in between the tackles. And
it looks like, that's another cramp by, I believe that is Brian Guinto.
There we see Hurtado and his elusiveness. Does a good job getting out of bounds, finishing the run, first down.
Mata doing a fantastic job. He has his family on their feet. Extending the play, getting out of bounds and stopping the clock with 1:06 remaining to play in the first half.
Well-balanced drive here by the Scots.
Shotgun double set for Mata. Well, this actually was a trip set, and Mata's going to keep it on that QB sweep. Oh, and he loses it. Fortunate to get back on top of it.
Very fortunate. He looked like he was one cut away from maybe going the distance there, and then that ball got stripped out. And, he had some fumble issues last week too, so got to keep that ball high and tight.
Absolutely. Shotgun spread set. I said doubles last time, but Mata keeps it, and they're going QB sneak. QB keeper, I should say, all the way.
Clock will stop on the first down. There's 30 seconds showing on it. Highland does have some timeouts. If they can get this ball snapped quickly, they can conserve those.
26 seconds remaining to play. You got to wonder if they're going to clock it or if they're going, and they're going. And that's Juarez. One man to beat, and Juarez is in for the touchdown. Amazing job by the Highland Scots. And they now have the lead because of the toughest young man on the field, the world jiu-jitsu champion 3 times, making 2 men miss, and you got a touchdown for the Highland Scots, and they'll stay out there and go for 2. Coach, what'd you see on that?
I saw exceptional clock management by the Highland Scots there because they're not a great passing team, but they did a good job of getting out of bounds when they needed to get out of bounds, getting up on the ball when the clock was still running there, using that tempo, and just really taking it to a Shafter team that I think probably a little bit tired in their defensive front.
And one thing I like about how they approached the drive, Coach, they didn't panic. They didn't just drop back and throw it 8 times to get down the field. They ran some draws. They ran some counters. They were very disciplined as far as how they wanted to approach the drive and not giving the football back with time on the clock. Mata is stopped. So that's going to be a conversion that's unsuccessful, but nonetheless, the Highland Scots will take the lead with 15 seconds remaining to play, and the Shafter team is trying to figure out, hey, is my quarterback okay? Is he going to be back? I see a lot of action happening over there on their training table, but I don't have any binoculars to figure out if their team captain and team leader is going to come back out here, but you may expect them to just come out here and take a knee, as Highland did get the football to start the game, so they will have an opportunity as an offense in Shafter to come out after the half and try to get things back going. But nonetheless, the Highland Scots up 12 over the Shafter Generals, who scored first with 7.
Well, I believe that Dozier just stepped into the ambulance there in the back end of it. Had his pads off. So that's not a great sign for the Shafter Generals. They're already down their starting running back, and the best quarterback I think in town out. Hopefully it's something that he can recover from and get back, if not this game, but at least later in the season.
Absolutely. Prayers to the family. Definitely being anxious to see him work. But nonetheless, you don't want him to continue to get damaged anymore. So maybe giving him an opportunity and take those pads off since it's halftime. Maybe he's getting rewrapped. That's a very likely possibility. And we'll follow up and see if we can get some information on that. But nonetheless, it's the Highland Scots up 12-7 by a very balanced drive by J.J. Mata, and Juarez ending up with the touchdown. And his dad was up here early in the pregame letting us know all the insight to why this young man runs so tough. And he's showing improvement.
Yeah, like I said, I was able to watch him last year when he was on Bakersfield High's JV team, and was extremely impressed there. And he brings that same he's always the hammer, never the nail.
Right.
You know, and when you got a running back, that's like Walter Payton.
Right.
That's just going to make you get punished every time you try to tackle him. All right, now if I was Shafter here, even with my backup quarterback, I'm going to throw one up to Sundgren just to see if we can get one.
Absolutely, because the clock stops.
Yeah, you got Mata out on him. I might hit him on just a hitch here and see what he does after the catch.
And the young quarterback isn't paying any attention to that, but you get a nice run. And that's going to be it for the first half as Shafter lets the clock run out. That is it for the first half. Highland Scots up 12, Shafter Generals with 7, and we're starting to see that ambulance taking off, so that's not a good sight if we got the young man from Shafter in there, but we'll try to get some updates. Nonetheless, Highland Scots up 12 over the Shafter Generals with 7 in this first half.
We are these fields. We are these roots. We see the beauty in the everyday, with pride from where we came. We look ahead, to the places that pull us together, to the places that we call home. A new chapter begins now. Kern Schools Federal Credit Union is now Valley Strong Credit Union. Grow your possibilities. Visit valleystrong.com/grow to learn more.
It's wicked cool. It's our new aviation class. It gives kids a chance to break into the industry. There's a lot of careers in aviation. This class is a lot more than just flying planes.
We've learned so much already. We've learned how to take off. We've learned instrument flight rules. It's something everyone can do, I think.
Good. And you see, remember that horizon? Try to keep it parallel to your cockpit. After the 2-year program, they're going to be able to take the knowledge test for their private pilot exam. I am a pilot. I've been in Bakersfield for 10 years. I worked as an instructor for 6 years and then became a corporate pilot. And I'm a teacher here. We have amazing equipment. Even flight schools don't have that much equipment.
You put a class like this somewhere at North High, and it's really preparing kids to succeed because it gives them a whole new set of opportunities they never knew that they had the chance to pursue. I'm proud to say that I'm from North High School and that we have administration that's willing to put the money into offering really, really neat programs like this and preparing kids to succeed.
A lot of more hands-on activities, a lot more about woodworking and what to do, how to make a career for myself.
It's not only for guys. I am actually learning how to make cupboards and put everything together, like doors, cabinets. It's really fun, actually.
Yeah, well, it's really amazing to see their growth over the course of a year and how they can come in with no real skill at all and leave being able to actually produce furniture and cabinetry.
Houses need cabinets, businesses having a pool of resources or kids that have some knowledge in the industry would be real good.
Pull down on that. Let's slide these up. Watch fingers.
It's changed a lot. What I'm seeing here is what it's going towards. The CNC equipment, computers. I could actually build cabinets out of this shop. It's state of the art. It really is.
I am constantly looking for students that have been through these programs. It's always nice to have a person that has some experience. It's a lot easier to train. I think we're fortunate in Bakersfield that the Kern High School District has invested in a program like this. I would encourage other businesses to partner up with the Kern High School District like I've done here, because this really shows you what can be done if business comes together with the Kern High School District.
This is where we're going to train the kids to actually get jobs in the industry. We're going to give them the basic tools that they need, also the skills that they need to understand where they fit into the industry.
All the animated things, because we have everything that we need in the scenes.
They are learning the principles of animation, Photoshop. They're learning how to animate in 2D and 3D. And when you swap to that shape, then you're just going to drag these over here.
The storyboard aspect of creating basically the skeleton of the story, and then just sort of directing people in my vision of what I want in the story. And it's also giving me the advantage of Mr. Pollard, since he's worked at so many companies, being able to put it in my resume and be like, this is the art direction I've received.
I was shearing my lamb for fair. I have 2 lambs.
This lamb is stubborn.
Taking care of animals is you feed them twice a day, make sure they have water, walk them, make sure they're ready for fair.
Vet science is the first year before you can actually go into animal science, and it's a lot of like
hands-on with the different animals, and you get to learn different things such as giving shots, castrating, all that fun stuff. For me, wanting to be a vet when I'm older, it prepares me. All the stuff that I'm learning in ag is definitely going to help me. I'm in ag communications. Anything that you see on the Facebook page is what we do, and pictures, and we do all the posters that are around campus, anything that just promotes ag.
Our students are all part of the FFA organization, and through that we have a chapter officer team. We do monthly chapter meetings because we're trying to get them involved outside of class so they can find something that they're interested in, and they need something that's going to hook them so that they're ready for life after high school.
In animal care, the students learn a variety of things, whether it's tools or terms. In the veterinary field, they learn about the skeletal systems, the animal nutrition, the housing, how to properly care for them. They also have the opportunity in the spring to actually go work at a veterinary hospital or at an animal shelter or a grooming salon.
Animal restraint, weight and temperature, pulse, respiration, all of that I learned here.
They take a state certified test, and if they pass, they become a certified vet assistant right out of high school.
It's always hands-on, and so I think that's what really helps us, is that we're not just getting it from a textbook, we're actually doing these things, and we're actually practicing these things that we'll be doing in our future careers.
It's wicked cool. It's our new aviation class. It gives kids a chance to break into the industry. There's a lot of careers in aviation. This class is a lot more than just flying planes.
We've learned so much already. We've learned how to take off. We've learned instrument flight rules. It's something everyone can do, I think.
Good. And you see, remember that horizon? Try to keep it parallel to your cockpit. After the 2-year program, they're going to be able to take the knowledge test for their private pilot exam. I am a pilot. I've been in Bakersfield for 10 years. I worked as an instructor for 6 years and then became a corporate pilot. And I'm a teacher here. We have amazing equipment. Even flight schools don't have that much equipment.
You put a class like this somewhere at North High, and it's really preparing kids to succeed because it gives them a whole new set of opportunities they never knew that they had the chance to pursue. I'm proud to say that I'm from North High School and that we have administration that's willing to put the money into offering really, really neat programs like this and preparing kids to succeed.
We're in manufacturing engineering. We design parts, 3D parts, 2D parts, we create assemblies.
It's helping me get training in all of this stuff, like the computer programs that we have here, the machines that we have here. We learn a lot of math in here, mostly geometry and fractions, because I love math. That's why I'm in this class.
Mr. Lemmy, he's a great instructor.
So the problem is this piece itself.
He really goes hands-on with us. He helps us as much as we can. We've learned a lot from him.
Right now we're supplying students that are skilled in the safety, basic operation of machine work, and then they also leave with some soft skills. They understand they have to be on time. They understand that they have to get up and talk to people. Most of them are walking out of here with a solid foundation in the entry level of a trade.
They can have a job anywhere they go because they have a basic understanding of what it's going to take to put products out that people are going to use.
Hopefully this is a good career for me. End up doing something good, have a good life, and make some money.
We're learning a lot, and especially with just the basic knowledge of what you would need for an entry-level job.
All the basic skills to be a medical assistant in a doctor's office or a clinic.
You're leaning on it, and that'll make a difference.
And then they also do on-the-job training, and they work in doctor's offices or clinics throughout Kern County. The kids are job ready, and many of them are employed before the end of the school year. They're promised a job, as well as they continue their education. We have many registered nurses out there and even physicians.
I'm thinking I want to be an anesthesiologist. So a lot of school, but it'll be worth it in the end. Right now we're learning the different roles.
Welcome back to Kern High Network Football. I am Kenny Calvin, joined with Coach Rich Cornford, Highland High School, with the 12 points over the Shafter Generals with 7 points. Shafter just watched their starting quarterback head off the field in the ambulance. Prayers for the Dozier family. We hope everything's okay. Nonetheless, the Scots found a way to get back into the football game. Coach Cornford, what's your synopsis on the first half?
Well, two really good football teams. We're seeing Highland, was able to really have an effective 2-minute drive, and it was right at that. It was 2 minutes. They completed one pass, ran the ball real effectively, got out of bounds when they needed to, had excellent clock management to put points on the board with about 15 seconds left in the half to take the lead.
Biggest player for the Highland Scots appeared to be Juarez. He did a great job on the ground as they had a balanced attack in that last drive to get them to the goal line, but he was just so efficient. He started off the game with an amazing run where he stiff-armed one guy, trucked another, and spun on another, to where we knew it was going to be some fireworks out of him. But he's kind of taking over this game as they continue to move forward.
And I just got a text from Coach Perucci saying that Tyson Dozier has a broken clavicle. So, yeah, that's about a 6-week recovery. So the good news is he should be able to come back and play the last few games and then go into the playoffs for Shafter. But definitely a blow to Coach Perucci and his program.
Oh, heartbreaking for the
one of the top Generals. 2 or 3 players in town.
And the Dozier family.
Also update, Frontier Titans are up 35-13 on St. Joseph's, and BHS went down to Clovis 34-14.
I don't like that. Sundgren, he has a hole, and this is the fastest man on the field, and you can tell, across the 50 to the 45-yard line, and ladies and gentlemen, he's going to need the ball in his hands, as Coach Cornford stated, more than 10 times in this second half in order for the Shafter Generals to have opportunity.
Highland squib kicked that ball, hoping to keep it away from him. He did a great job of fielding it on the fly and then taking it, giving the Generals great field position and a little spark here to start the second half.
Yep, because I was asking for the squib kick, and he said, watch this, Coach Cal. Uh-huh. 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. We have a different quarterback in there for the Generals.
I think it's Sundgren. You want him to touch the ball 10 times, he'll touch it every time this half.
And that's a great adjustment, as he is the most outstanding athlete, and that's exactly what they do. They go Sundgren, and he goes on that quarterback sweep, quarterback power, and he gets about 5 on first down.
We had a similar thing happen to us in 2006 when we had our quarterback go down early in the 3rd game of the season. We ended up just snapping the ball to Ryan Matthews, and things turned out pretty well for us that year, and for Ryan.
Turned out well for him as well. Hall of Famer, Bob Elias Hall of Fame. Shout out to my fellow board members.
That's a great honor, too, that program. It was great to be there when Ryan was inducted. and to see the other people that are inducted, I mean, he's in really good company.
Absolutely. Went in with Casey Mears. I remember seeing that on the docket in our last meeting.
Now, if I'm Highland, I'm going to definitely adjust my defense with him in at quarterback. One thing, he's not at receiver. They don't have that guy that runs 10-9 out there anymore. He's in the backfield. So I'm gonna tighten everybody up, bring those safeties up to play the edges, and I'm not going to let him run the ball on me. Or I'm going to try not to let him run the ball on me.
Absolutely. Illegal procedure wipes away that 5-yard gain by Sundgren, and it's going to be 2nd and 10. And now we have, looks like, Elijah Lucero may be playing quarterback now. No, but that's Sundgren again, and he throws a nice dart into that slot. It's going to be about a 3-yard gain, Coach.
Nice spiral on the ball right there. You know, short gain, but he's telling Highland, hey, you can't just all play the run. I'm going to throw the ball too here.
Absolutely. I think he heard us, Coach. 2nd and about 7, or 3rd and 7, I should say, after we had that penalty that marched it back. And it's going to be a trips open set for Sundgren and the Generals.
Continuing to use a hard count. Highland doing a better job of not jumping off sides this half.
Great assessment, Coach. They've held their ground a couple times so far. And Sundgren gets around the edge. One man to beat. Oh, makes 3 miss, but nice pursuit. Oh, and we have a late flag. But as you see, Sundgren is something else. He's making 3 guys miss, but you have to have 11 guys to the football, and that's an amazing job by the Highland Scots doing just that.
Great effort by Lucian Croney on that play. He initially missed the tackle, hustled back, came in and made a good play there.
Lucian Croney, that's another famous family name in this neck of the woods, but they used to be down the street at Foothill High when Big Sheldon was down there, and then you had his son.
Another Iowa State star out of
Absolutely.
Ridgeview High.
Ridgeview and Garces. But nonetheless, the Generals heading in the wrong direction, and that's one of the things that happens when you lose your team captain and leader. Just the timing and chemistry is off. Nonetheless, 3rd and long, shotgun double set. Low snap.
Yeah, Highland sending a guy in every gap over there. Not much space there for Sundgren to let those wheels get rolling.
And that's exactly what you want to do. Like you said, Coach, you lose the threat of him outside on the edge, hurting you down the field. So that opportunity for him to go to quarterback gives you the opportunity to take that extra safety and put him down as a linebacker or bring in another D tackle. And now Shafter is having some issues as they look to punt to a hungry Highland football team. And that's a shank. And that's going to be about maybe an 8 to 12-yard punt. When it rains, it pours. It's going to be 1st and 10 Highland from the 39-yard line. Kenny Calvin and Coach Rich Cornford on this Kern High Network broadcast. Definitely want to thank the Highland administration and Principal Deborah Vikstrom, Athletic Director Justin Finch, Athletic Trainer Kenny Knight.
Yeah, great administration here. Not only does my son coach receivers, but my oldest daughter is a history teacher.
Nice.
Here. She enjoys working out here. Got a great staff of history teachers that she works with.
Toss sweep to Juarez. And Juarez, is a holding penalty or a flag on the outside that would usually be a holding penalty. But we'll see what we have.
Run off the left edge. We've got a penalty flag on the play. That was a low error on the tackle.
I want to give one more shout out to Kyle Wiley and just Maybe get him a box of Kleenex because the Lompoc Braves beat the Rigetti Warriors 42-20 tonight. So sorry, Kyle. Maybe someday you'll be in our league.
Shout out to Lompoc putting in work. Friday Night Lights. As Big Jackson, KJ trots back out on the field. That's going to be holding Highland. And we'll see what these sticks do. Look like our chain gang is a little sleep right now because they're not following the box. So we don't have our chain set up, yet the officials have wound the play to start, and there are no chains set up.
Yeah, a little discombobulated.
They got it going. They got it going. Juarez breaks the tackle. He's crossed the 50, crossed the 30. 1 man to beat. Oh, and he's tackled. Touchdown, saving tackle by number 3.
Boy, a great swing pass there. He shows a good burst of speed there to take that up the sideline. And he's got that ability to just change his speed a little bit, similar to what Walter Payton would do, to really throw off the angles that you're trying to pursue him with. So,
boy,
love this young running back.
Alex Aguirre with the touchdown saving tackle, but I swear to God, Juarez is the truth.
Yeah, he fights for a lot of yards. You know who he reminds me of from this area is Bryson Sumlin.
Yes, he does.
You know, Bryson was a guy who's about a little bit taller, about the same weight, fought for every single yard, ended up running for over 1,100 yards his junior season there at Fresno State, and led the Fresno State Bulldogs to a top 25 finish back in the good old days.
Absolutely. My boy B. Sum, I had the honor of working in the fireworks booth with him the summer after his freshman or after his senior year as that fumble happens. Nice job by the defensive line of Shafter. But he was one of the hardest working incoming freshmen that we had that were working that summer before they went off to college. And he's also real good friends with my little cousin Daniel Calvin and his big brother Gary Sumlin. They all in the same game.
All those Sumlin kids are crazy tough. Love them.
Absolutely. Mata with the keeper.
Yeah, we're seeing the two-headed monster there for Highland really come out here with Mata going one way and Juarez going the other. It makes it difficult as a linebacker to read that and make sure you got all your gaps covered. So great execution here by the Scots this drive.
Absolutely. It's what makes the RPO offense deadly when you have a quality quarterback and a quality running back. Puts a lot of pressure on those defensive ends to make the right read.
4th and 3 here. They almost got Shafter to jump, but they did not call it.
Shotgun spread set for Mata. High snap. He's going to have to make it happen with his feet. Oh, and it looks like he didn't get it. Great job by Shafter.
Boy, I think that high snap really threw him out of rhythm and really cost him on that play.
Well, I'll say this. I remember some opportunities as a defense in college when we lost some of our offensive weapons. And we weren't a great offensive football team at that level. But as a defense, it inspired us more to see what could we do to help overall to try to do some things. And that's a great stance by the Shafter defense to get that stop and turnover on downs.
Yeah, that was a great stop by them, and now they're going to need some productivity from their offense. They started this half at the 45-yard line of Highland and really struggled to do anything. Now they're backed up right at their own 10-yard line. They're going to need to at least get a couple first downs to help change the momentum of this game. But they do have a game breaker back there receiving snaps.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not a position he's used to playing, but he is great with the ball in his hands, and he's very fast.
And we have seen him throw the football already, so he's not just going to run it every time. You have to be honest. And they drop back to pass now, and there's some pressure. And here he is in the open field. Runs one over, continuing to go, still on his feet. Across the 15, across the 25, and oh, my God, across the 40. You got Sundgren across the 40, and he's going to the house. 20, 10, Touchdown, Generals. Coach, you called it right on time.
Well, sometimes when you got an athlete like that, everything else breaks down, but you still got the best athlete on the field. And, you know, a kid that plays with tremendous amount of heart, who took a wallop there and gave a wallop and kept on going. We talked about that in the first half, how he was much more physical than we anticipated him being, and that's a great example there.
96-yard touchdown run on a quarterback sweep where he was bottled up, broke about 3 tackles, trucked one, and ran off from the whole Highland football team. We told you he's the fastest person on the field, and Coach Cornford had his crystal ball out.
Well, silence this crowd. You know, this is a good Highland crowd that we've got here tonight, and they're a little bit shell-shocked because everything been going their way for the last few quarters.
Kick is no good, but nonetheless, 1-point lead for the Shafter Generals. And ladies and gentlemen, if you thought they were a one-trick pony, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah, Gerald Perucci is too good of a coach, you know, not to respond. And great move by him. We got the best athlete on the field. We just had our great quarterback go down. Let's give it to the man and let him work a little bit of magic.
Well, Coach, I mean, last night Coach Van Horn had his crystal ball out. He had about 3 calls where a second after he said something happened. But that's why I always tell these couch commentators and these couch quarterbacks that want to get in the comments and wonder who's in the booth. It's the reason why these guys up here, man. They know what they're talking about. Amazing job by Sundgren. And you said it at the half when we were eating these tacos. Sundgren needs the ball in his hands at least 10 times in order for them to have a chance. He's had it in his hands about 10 times already, and they already have the lead midway through this third quarter.
Yeah, at that time when I said that, I did not anticipate him being the quarterback. I thought maybe because we saw Lucero take a couple snaps there to close things out. I thought fly sweeps and hitches and maybe chuck one up, you know, if you got any one-on-one coverage on him. But great move by Coach Perucci. You know, again, showing why he's one of the top coaches in town. And
well, we said he's a true legend. You know, and that series alone, when you lose somebody of the magnitude of Dozier, a lot of panic can set in at this level. But as you see, they didn't panic. They went with their backup quarterback initially. He had a series to try to work something, nothing worked, and they went to Sundgren and immediate results. Generals to kick. It's taken at the 20. Oh, an amazing job covering. Oh, and it's getting physical at about the 25-yard line. And I like it.
Getting a little chippy out there. You know, in that situation on the return, I much prefer my deeper guy to come up and field that ball than my middle guy to go backwards to get it. We told our guys, if it's kicked to you, get it, but don't back up to catch it. We got those deep guys back there for a reason because they're the guys that can take it to the house, and then they'll have a head of steam behind them too. So something that they can maybe possibly work on in the future.
1st and 10 for the Highland Scots. Have to be shell-shocked a bit after that drive by Sundgren. Nonetheless, trips open set for Mata. He rolls right. Oh, and pressure in his face. He does a great job escaping the first guy, but the second guy gets him. Amazing job by that defensive line, and that is number 66. Simon Vanderpoll, 6'3", 235-pound senior for the Generals.
Yeah, he's a big boy out there. And I think somebody missed an assignment out there. Mata was able to make that first guy miss, though, but got cleaned up.
Shotgun spread offense for Mata. And you definitely don't want a 3-and-out here, but you got Wars, and he's the toughest guy on the field, and that's why he's breaking tackles left and right. He said, watch this. Great run by Juarez. And he's tackled at about the 40.
Looks like he cramped up a little bit
line.
there.
He was taken down pretty tough at the end. You got to hope that it's not a knee or an ankle because he was wrapped up, and then you had the second defender come in and give a nice shot. Maybe the wind's knocked out of him, or It was a little grabbing the hip a little bit, but he's still on his feet at the moment. But like he said, you don't become the world champion 3 times as a jiu-jitsu guy if you ain't willing to take a lick. Quick hitch outside. Oh, and he misses the tackle.
Great pursuit there on that play by Bernays Lucero, the younger Lucero brother. If he hadn't been there, that was going to go to the house.
Absolutely, because you had, it looks like
Gain of 9.
Elijah missed the tackle, and then you had someone else come and clean it up. Or no, Figueroa missed the tackle, and Lucero came and cleaned it up.
Ooh, that's tough. 2nd and inches, and you lost 2
Whoa.
yards, maybe 3 yards on that play. Great job by the interior of the Shafter defense to get a push inside on that zone and stuff that.
Absolutely, a very slow developing play there as they were trying to go power out of the shotgun or the zone read, as we say, but a little too long to develop, and that gave that defensive line the opportunity to penetrate. 3rd and 3 with a spread pistol formation for the Scots. And Mata, throws the hitch, and it's dropped.
They had a good cushion out there. He made the right read, but he just misfired on that.
That'll bring up 4th down. It almost looked like Valletta was looking to run a slant instead of running the straight hitch.
They got nobody out on him right now if they snap the ball.
Scots go for it. Mata keeps it. Oh, and he has it by a long shot. Gutsy call from the 50-yard line. That's going to be 1st and 10.
That was actually, he handed it to Venegas, and
Wow.
Venegas was able to slip through there. Great job up front by the line. That's a critical call. You're at midfield, 4th and 3. They go with tempo and pick it up. Great job, Coach Gutierrez.
Absolutely, and they were camouflaged because I definitely thought Mata kept that. Nonetheless, he keeps it this time, and he's around the left side for what looks to be another 1st down by Highland, and that momentum is starting to shift to the big green.
We saw them have success going to the left in the first half for a while, and that was a nice counter sweep play with the quarterback keeping it that went for great yardage here.
Absolutely. Special thanks to our Kern High Network staff, our boss Stan Green, Kern High School District Superintendents, our Valley Strong Credit Union sponsors, and this Highland High School administration. Shout out to the Shafter administration as well. Mata, he's taking a shot, and it's going to be a 50-50 ball. Oh, and you got defensive pass interference. A lot of hand fighting going on. And I believe that was Jesus Figueroa just not playing the ball again, Coach. You're there and you're hand fighting. I don't know if I would call that PI necessarily because you got the offensive guy's hands on him as well.
They actually called it on the offense.
See,
So,
there we go.
Yeah, it really was a 50-50 ball. It looked like they were given what they were getting and called that on the offense. I think that's a great call by Coach on 2nd and 1. You hate to get that penalty, though, because you're not anticipating that. But to take a shot out there and
Calls offensive pass interference.
really unfortunate they didn't get the call there. But
All right. And I'm definitely glad to see an offensive PI called as a former DB.
Amen
Finally.
to that, huh?
Yeah. But ultimately, I was going to be upset if that was a pass interference call on the defense because you clearly saw the offensive guy have his hands on the defensive back as well. And you have to give a defensive guy an opportunity to hand fight when guys are putting their hands on their shoulders.
2nd 16.
that is the truth.
Juarez back in there. Oh, and a nice tough run. I swear to God, you better be wrapping up when you make contact with this kid.
Venegas tests the
Well,
right
that's-
edge.
Actually, that was still Venegas
Oh,
in
that's
there one
Venegas.
more time. Yeah, so trying
Nice.
to look on the sideline for Juarez and see.
Oh, he's right here in front of us.
Brings up a 3rd and 14.
It's very similar
Oh, yeah,
running
there he
style
is. Yeah.
of him and
Similar
Venegas.
builds, too.
Shout out to the Venegas family. Shotgun spread set. Single high safety look for Shafter. Mata drops back to pass. He has pressure. Oh, and that's going to be short hop and incomplete towards Venegas, and that's going to be 4th and forever, and you would expect Highland to possibly punt from this distance.
Modest pass incomplete, intended for Venegas.
And it looks like they will. So Shafter's defense holds strong. Another amazing opportunity by their defense to try to step up. You have big shoes to fill, and they get it done on that drive.
Key play being that offensive pass interference on a 2nd and 1, you know.
Wow.
Again, I think it's a great call to go deep there. You just don't anticipate that call being made against you. But
Right.
it was the right call as far as officiating was.
Absolutely. Unfortunate events. And the Scots punt, and it bounces at the 25, and it's going to bounce out about the 19-yard line where it'll be 1st and 10 for Sundgren. And he's coming off probably the play of the week so far after that 96-yard run where he broke about 5 tackles. I cannot wait to go back home and rewatch that highlight.
Yeah, that was something else over there by a heck of a ball player. Now we'll see. You know, that was a critical stop for Shafter. They've got the lead here by 1 point. They've got the ball. Highland knows what they're going to see. They're going to see a whole lot of Sundgren here. Maybe a little bit of Lucero running the ball, but see if they can. They got to make sure that they pursue it and they wrap it up and hold on till help comes if you can't get them down yourself.
Absolutely. You made a great comparison of when you guys lost your quarterback in 2006, but you got one of the most outstanding human beings on the planet in the backfield on the offense. You have to find a way to get it to him, and that's exactly what the Generals are doing right now. And there he goes again off the right side, and he makes another man miss. And I tell you, this dude is outstanding as he makes 3 men miss and breaks about 25 yards. Sundgren is something to watch.
Yeah, he is. Great call there. The fly motion coming the opposite direction. He just rode it a little bit and then sprinted to the right. Reminds me, being a Baylor Bear, of when RG3 was playing quarterback for us, and you had a world-class hurdler out there at quarterback that guy takes one step inside, he's not going to be able to contain the edge anymore.
Absolutely. Like I said, half of my college teammates were from that area and coached against RG3 when he was a high school guy, and they told me about him as he was on his way to Baylor, so we had our eyes on him. You know, amazing college career. Not as fortunate in his NFL legacy, but it still continues. So salute to the RG3.
Yeah, that was a real tragedy, you know, when he got hurt that rookie year there with Washington, because he really did put Baylor on the map. And they got a statue outside the stadium now commemorating that. First-class guy.
Amazing.
I've got the Frontier Titans 35, St. Joseph's 26 with about 6.5 minutes left in the game. So St. Joseph tightening up that score over there.
Amazing job by Frontier. You know, I covered a Frontier game during the spring where they played Liberty, and they were one drive away from getting past Liberty. And a lot of people underestimated that Frontier team, and they still have a lot to prove. They lost some weapons, too. In the big Jay Stevens, their defensive tackle, he went out and joined Joey Porter's son in Pittsburgh over there in North Allegheny, along with a couple others Bakersfield relatives, as we sent 3 Bakersfield kids to play in Pittsburgh this year.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yep.
I know that Chris Bandy, though, over there at Frontier, there was one heck of a football coach, and he's got a great staff around him. Brent Durkin and Chad Greider and company, those guys know ball better than anybody else in town. And, you know, they got those Titans believing, you know, and it took a couple years to get that program back where it was when we first started it. But they're certainly back, and they're very excited about this year. And big game against a great St. Joseph's team tonight.
Absolutely. I was Chad Greider's team captain when he was a freshman in college, and his leadership ability, I'm not surprised to see that he's able to get his defense to play at the level that they play night in and night out. One of my favorite teammates. Shout out to 55, and also shout out to Coach Greider. I hope you're doing well, Coach.
Great family there.
Trips open set, and they go zone inside, and Shafter is running the football very tough, Coach Corn.
Yeah, that's Lucero running there. That's his specialty, is running the ball inside. They've got a good inside-outside combination. They may not be able to throw the ball like Shafter typically throws the ball, but they're still really dangerous with him running inside and Sumlin running outside.
You know, it's definitely unfortunate that Dozier went down, but it's a beautiful thing to see his teammates step up in his place and continue to play balanced football. But like you said, Perucci is one of the greatest of all time. We got legal motion, and that's going to be a nice run that's going to be negated as we have a Highland Scott. Okay, he was down, but he's getting back up, and that's going to be legal motion as two guys go into that zap motion at the same time.
Well, that you know, penalties on first down that move you back to 1st and 15 kind of take you off schedule, especially without the passing attack you had. Could be dangerous. But we know that Sumlin can hit the home run at any time, but sometimes you need singles and doubles, you know,
Absolutely.
and that Lucero's been giving that to him this drive. We'll see if they can pick up one more first down here or if that penalty is going to be too much for them to handle.
1:31 remaining to play. Kenny Calvin and Rich Cornford with Dr. Julian Wilson on the producer-director duties. We have Shafter playing shorthanded as they lost their starting quarterback, but Sumlin is 2 for 2 from a passing perspective since he's come in. And he also has over 100 yards rushing in this football game. Exciting to watch.
Yeah, nice little throw there. And that, you know, throws like that look simple, right? But you got to, catch the snap, deliver the ball on time, and put it in a good spot. And for somebody that I'm sure hasn't taken a whole lot of reps at it, that's a great completion for them.
Absolutely, because you also have to read that defensive end or that outside backer to make sure he's not dropping out to get under that curl route that you're trying to hit. But nonetheless, they go counter trey right here, and this snapped out really quick. Great job inside by the Highland defensive line.
Yeah, Andrew Cherney there on the snap. He's their man, 6'3", 245. Helmet came off there, so he should have to come out of the game. Yeah, they brought him out, subbed him in. Critical third down here as we finish the third quarter with the Generals up 13-12 over the Scots.
Absolutely, and that is the end of the third quarter, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take a quick break and be right back with more Kern High Network football right after this. Welcome back to Kern High Network football. 3rd and 8 for the Shafter Generals. Pretty good field position at this moment, but you need some yards. And you got Sumlin on that QB sweep again. We told you he's the fastest guy on the field, but great pursuit by that Highland defense, sideline to sideline, and that's going to be stopped for no gain.
That was a great play by Highland safety, number 12, Gwyn O'Brien. Really saved a first down, but it looks like Shafter likely going to go for it here on 4th down. Their punting game hadn't been very good.
All right.
So I think this is probably a pretty smart play.
Shout out to Rick Van Horn and his squad over there. I believe they got the the Ridgeview game. Nonetheless, it's 4th and 8 here. Oh, and they're coming after Sundgren. Oh, and great job by the Highland Scots. They come double fire off the outside, and how about Highland stepping up at the right time?
Great defensive play call there, bringing both guys outside, because you know where Sundgren's going to be the most dangerous is if he breaks contain. Guys came wide, trapped him inside there. Both of them tackled him. Now Highland's got the ball in phenomenal field position. You know, you talked about special teams and the importance of them earlier. When you're down 1 point, but you really don't have a kicking game, man, Highland is going to have to put the ball in the end zone here, because I don't think they'll be able to kick a field goal at any point.
Right, and let's see who's the back. Oh, high snap. And that is Juarez back in there. But they've had some issues with that snap, Coach. We've seen some trouble at the mesh point a couple times.
Yeah, actually, again, that was Venegas is
that's
back in there.
Venegas still in there? Wow. They look so much alike.
They do. They got the exact same body type. You got 28 and 24.
And I do need glasses, guys. I've said that every week. Shotgun spread offense. I've been in denial. Mata drops back the pass, throws the out. Either overthrown or underthrown, but almost caught by Shafter General.
Yeah, Mata's done a great job tonight, but he's not a pure drop-back passer. You know, the timing just isn't quite there yet. And, you know, probably by the time they get into league, he'll be shining, because he does throw the ball well, but you can just see some timing and some footwork issues there, slightly off.
Absolutely, and now you got to wonder what's wrong with Juarez, because he hasn't been back out there since he went down. And that's Venegas, and he said, don't worry about it, I got you. Nice 18-yard scamper on the zone read by Venegas.
I think being 3rd and 9, Shafter was a little bit in pass rush mode, got up the field a little bit, and Venegas was able to slip underneath him, get some really good yards, and a critical first down. Highland hitting them with tempo here. Like we said, that first down on a drive is so critical for those tempo teams. See, you know, Shafter looked like they got a little bit tired in the second quarter of the game. We'll see if, you know, how their endurance holds up here in the fourth, because a lot of these guys on both teams are going both ways.
Yes, indeed. And last time Highland had this good field position, they couldn't get any further past the 35, so we'll see what they have as they go in the 2nd and 6. Pressure on the outside, and Mata gets around the edge. Makes another man miss, and he has another first down. 1st and 10 for the Scots, and I think they found out what they want to do as far as being safe with that RPO-style offense, Coach.
Well, JoJo is so dangerous with the ball in his hands over there, and hey, nobody was open. He gave him time to get open, but then, man, when he starts scrambling, watch out.
Pistol spread formation. That's handed off inside to Venegas, and I tell you, it's some tough running backs on this Highland side of the football.
Blockers off the left inside.
Yeah, Venegas is just a junior also, so Mata's a junior, Juarez a junior, Venegas a junior, so bright future here for the Highland Scots.
Speaking of Highland Scots, like I said, we'll talk about some classic Highland running back tandems when we get a shot as Venegas gets around the left side, still on his feet, but we have a flag. And that's going to be an illegal shift versus Highland, but taking it back a couple decades, Coach Cornford. 1994, the Highland running back tandem was Charles Allotti and Leonard Nevels. You're talking about thunder and lightning. Nevels, another stout, huge neck fullback, run over everybody, but another guy that loves to plug up the gaps for his tailback, who was Charles Allotti, one of the most outstanding athletes, but also one of the most outstanding golfers in the Central section.
It's a unique combination there. Usually you see the quarterback being the golfer on the program.
Absolutely. Shout out to those classic Highland Scots. We ain't forgot about you. Shotgun spread set for Mata, and he gets it outside. Oh, nice job on the tackle. Appears that was number 32, Daniel Morales, the 5'10", 150-pound senior.
7-yard gain off the left edge, tackled by number 3.
Yeah, great job coming up, making that tackle in the open field. Right now, ball's at the 20-yard line, 3rd and 7. But I got to think that this is 4-down territory for Highland, that you're making this 3rd down call knowing you'll go for it on 4th down as well.
Absolutely. Trips right. Bunch set. You got Venegas split to the right. You usually will see a swing pass this way, but they're going ISO, and he making a man miss to get a couple yards. Oh, he gets about 6.
Armando Laura with the touchdown-saving tackle there for Shafter. But the damage being done with picking up that 1st down. Critical drive here for Highland. 8 minutes to go in the game, down 1, and you've got to put it in the end zone because your kicking game's not that good.
Absolutely. Trips right. Now, as soon as you get the 1st down that you barely got, your tight end moves too soon, and that's going to back them up 5 yards. And like Coach Cornford just talked about, your kicking game is pretty much non-existent, so everybody in the stadium pretty much knows that you're going to have to get at least inside the 5-yard line if you don't get into the end zone to have an opportunity. Mata has some blockers, and he's going to score, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and a late flag. Very late by the white hat. Mata was about at the 4-yard line as that flag went through, and he had a nice core of blockers. Nonetheless.
Love to see a replay on that because that looked like it was blocked clean with a pancake there to lead it. I didn't see the hold, but again, don't have the view that the official has.
I definitely did not see the replay either. No, but we're going to see if Dr. J can get us the replay. And let's go ahead and watch this replay real quick. You got Mata keeping it on the outside. Oh, and that was a clean pancake.
Ooh.
And that was the biggest holding call of the night as it negates the touchdown leading opportunity for the Scots, and that was horrible. So now Mata is going to try to get on the right side, and he's like, hey, check me out, guys. Still on his feet. Gets it back to about the original line of scrimmage at the 12-yard line. But how about the heartbreaking holding call? And like you said, Coach, on that replay, when you watch it, that was a clean pancake leading outside. Even the inside, it may have been called on that inside guy because you have an outside guy trying to retreat to the outside. But nonetheless, 4th down or 3rd down. And now Highland still on their feet, and that's going to be a touchdown for the Scots as they take the lead with 7:03 remaining to play in this 4th quarter. And how you like me now is what the Highland fans are saying to the officials after they almost cost them the football game with that holding call.
Boy, just some great guts up front by the Highland Scots and their offensive line. Give them credit. Great running. But, man, when the chips have been down and Highland needed to run the ball, they've been able to run the ball. And, that's pretty darn impressive.
Kudos to this big offensive line. We talked about some of the guys. We'll go through it as they prepare for this 2-point conversion. You got KJ Jackson, number 77. You got Brian Acevedo, number 78. Ethan Guzman, Trevor Janyo, Ricky Hoyer, Christian Cisneros, Manuel Monsabayas, Angel Cervantes, Simon Chite.
Wow.
And they do get
critical two-point conversion. Critical 2-point conversion. That puts them up 7. Shafter's been struggling with their kicking game a little bit too. So very key there, going right up the middle, following Andrew Turney. He's plays offense, defense, 6'3", 245. Shows a pig at the fair, good, well-around, country tough kid. that just showed the running back the way of the end zone with his lead blocking there?
Well, one thing I know from personal experience, if your lineman is in the FFA, he's going to be tough, man.
Something about them corn-fed boys up front.
Man, I tell you.
Nebraska Cornhuskers won several national championships with those kind of guys.
Absolutely. I had a few of my linemen were FFA staples.
All right, so big score, huge two-point conversion, puts you up 20-13 with 7 minutes to go, but you got the fastest kid in the area going to get the ball on the other side. Now, and I would make sure I did not kick it within 40 yards of him on this kickoff.
Absolutely, because they tried the squib kick last time, and he was able to get it and get it all the way to the 35-yard line on a couple of drives ago. But nonetheless, one thing we know is that Shafter isn't going to lay down. They've showed that they continue to have potential no matter who they're missing. If you tuned in late, the great Tyson Dozier went out with a shoulder injury. You know, we heard it's a clavicle. Can't be any more specific than that. But they've showed some promise after he went out. Sundgren had the amazing 96-yard touchdown run where he ran over 2 people and ran away from the other 7.
All right, Venegas just scored that touchdown and just went in on kickoff team. I mean, hey, game's on the line. Keep your best players in there.
Absolutely. Oh, and they do squib it. Oh, amazing coverage and tackle by the Highland Scots kickoff team. Taken down at the 25. Got to try to get a number on this young man.
I believe it's number 23.
Wow, amazing tackle by number 23, Lucian Croney.
Second time we've seen him come up with a big hit.
Woo!
That was Bobby Boucher-esque on that one.
Exactly. Shout out to the water boy. that did have a little Bobby in it.
All right, now this point of the game, and you know because you've been there too, both teams are gassed and tired. You're sore, you're hurting, you're cramping up, but you got to go, you know.
Absolutely. No bathroom breaks in the fourth quarter. It's just you out there. Trips open set. Single high safety. It looks like you got one-on-one on the backside, but you got a backup quarterback in there, so they're going with that zone read, which is a good call because you don't want to start panicking. I alluded to this earlier. Too often teams get down and they think the best recipe is to drop back 3 times in a row and throw the football. No, sometimes balance is the best recipe for success because it's a chess match.
Yeah, especially without Dozier in there. I mean, and again, Coach Perucci's phenomenal coach. And they're going to put themselves in a position to potentially win this game.
Oh, and you got a flag on Highland. It looks like the Highland Scots defender lined up in the neutral zone and gave him 5 free yards pre-snap. Talking about putting yourself in tough positions.
Offside to Highland.
You're a defensive back lining up both sides.
They weren't going to catch a bubble on him, I'll tell you that.
And in this situation, you probably want to get a little bit of depth. Nice tackle.
First down, though, for Shafter. Now, and again, we're not going to see any panic out of the Generals. They don't need to, I mean, they already use a little bit of tempo. They don't need to rush it here. There's plenty of time on the clock. You've got multiple timeouts left. You got your backup quarterback in. Just make sure he understands the play and has a chance to make the read. And, boy, if Highland, doesn't have good contain on any one play, he can take it the distance again.
Trips open set again for the Generals, and they go right back to that inside zone run. That's a nice 5-yard run.
Yeah, that's Lucero running the ball again. He's been very effective running the ball inside.
That was Lucero.
And, again, Highland has to make sure. Highland knows they're going to basically run the ball or throw bubble screens. So I wouldn't be surprised if everybody's lined up tight to the line of scrimmage, but they got to squeeze that middle down. But if you squeeze the middle down too much, that opens up the outside for Sundgren. So
absolutely. Great job inside by Parker Valderrama on that offensive line for Shafter, creating some lanes for that 5-yard run on the first down. It'll be 2nd and 5. Now you got the QB keeping it, and that's Sundgren. Making one miss, making two miss, still on his feet. Boy, this man is explosive.
He works very, very hard. You know, he doesn't, I mean, I know he's got to be tired, but he's working hard for every yard. Highland's making him work hard for every yard, and you better bring the pursuit with him because he's pretty darn shifty as well as fast.
Yes, he is, and I got to say it again. He reminds me so much of Derek Vickers. If you never saw Derek Vickers play football, former driller in Renegade and Utah Ute, he's one of the most explosive guys in and out of cuts. Very symbolic to Sundgren right now. Trips open set. 3rd and 3 for Shafter, and of course it's 4-down territory. And they're bringing the house, and and it looks like Sundgren might have the edge. Oh, and they got a penalty.
He had the yards for the first down, but that's typically going to be a holding call when that side judge throws that flag.
Absolutely, and we've seen some, I don't want to say, I'll say questionable. We see some questionable calls on the edge tonight. But like we said, it's so tough for us. We're in the box way up here about 30 yards from the field. You know, these officials definitely have a better view on things than us. So, nonetheless, that's going to be a holding penalty, and that's going to march them back 10 yards for a 3rd and 13.
Well, and they're calling it tight on both sides, you know, and that's getting consistency is all you can really ask for.
Absolutely.
Do have a final for us. Frontier 35, St. Joe's 33.
Wow.
So the Knights had a little bit of a comeback there, but the Titans hold on for a big win against a good Santa Maria team.
Wow.
And on the other end of things, Liberty 51, Ridgeview 0.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
The Patriots continue to roll and be the Brian Nixon machine over there.
Shout out to Coach Nix, and one of my idols, and the reason why I was excited to play corner, Coach Oliver.
Oh, heck of a ball player and heck of a coach.
Absolutely. Few of my guys on that coaching staff. Sundgren making one miss, but he can't make two miss, and that's going to be a huge sack.
That puts Coach Barucci in a huge dilemma.
Oh, and Sundgren is still down. He gets up on his own power, but like you said, Coach, he may be more gassed right now than anything.
Now the clock has stopped. I don't know if Shafter called that timeout or if it's because Sundgren is – it must be because he's down on the field here.
Yeah, it looks like he was down, and that's going to be an injury timeout. You know, you hope it isn't something serious because they've already lost one of their big guns, but it looks like you can't put any pressure on there, and you never want to see that. Tough sledding for the Shafter Generals tonight.
My goodness.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That kid gave every ounce of energy he had tonight.
I'll tell you what, I talked about it earlier, Coach. I worked as a college recruiter when I was in Louisiana and have an opportunity to be a grad assistant on the LSU situation. I love to see players with the odds stacked against them show the heart that Sundgren has. You know, so I'm wishing that young man the best, along with all the other injured players from tonight.
Now, if I'm Highland, I am not worried about returning this ball. I am playing fake all the way. I'll let it roll from here to Kingdom Come.
Right.
But right now, up 7 with them punting and 3 minutes to go.
You got movement. And no flag. So Highland got lucky right there. And now, like you said, it's a good return, but it was very dangerous because you're running through that traffic with that ball loose. Would have been a great opportunity for the Shafter Generals to be more aware and trying to hack that football out because he was carrying it like a loaf of bread for a second there.
We have this change of possession. I'd like to remind everyone.
All right, let me just give a hat off to Venegas, the backup running back that come in. I mean, we were talking in the first half about Juarez and what a beast he was.
Right.
Venegas has come in and run just as hard. And, this is a situation they're going to need to rely on him. And also, JoJo Mata has been great too, but he's a little loosey-goosey with the ball. I'm thinking, hey, you're not fighting for extra yards right now. You're going to take what they give you, and you're going to keep that thing high and tight at all times.
Absolutely. No hero ball right now while you're up 7 points with 2:52 remaining to play. Just about making good decisions and protecting the football. But like you said, when you got a running back like Waters who can be as efficient as he was, and then you can bring in Venegas, that only says one thing to me, is that you're getting some quality offensive line work from some guys that don't get the recognition. So, I definitely want to highlight the fact that those big boys is eating in the trenches right now.
Yeah, we saw him run for over 300 yards against Arvin last week, and they got to be, I would think, approaching 200 plus tonight.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely say they're over 200. And they throw it right there, and that's an amazing call as they go with the out. Because like we said, Coach, it's a chess match, and you have to try to catch people off guard that think you're going to run it 3 times and try to kill this clock. And you do a great job of catching them off guard and throwing that out for the first down. And that might be the ball game, ladies and gentlemen.
Great route, great throw, great call there. If it works, which it did. So hats off there. Nice work keeping Shafter off balance.
And you hit the nail on the head a few plays before that, how well Mata's doing, making the right decisions. Oh, nice tackle. And that ball came loose. That ball came out. And let's see what's happening. The ball came out.
I felt it looked like he was down to me to begin with.
Yes, it did look like he was down.
They're saying Highland football.
Woo! But it's like we talked about, Coach. You got to know situational football. 1:30 remaining to play. And instead of worrying about getting the extra yard, you should be focused on protecting the football, because to protect the football, you protect the football game.
Amen.
26-yard line.
2nd and 6 for the Scots.
Oh.
And now you got a Scott that's down, and if you're his teammate, you want to hurry up and get him up, because that clock will stop.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't stop the clock on that. I think he got stepped on right on the back of his ankle there. He's a big boy. He's walking it off.
3rd and 6. 40 seconds remaining to play, Coach.
Chapter not using timeouts here.
Pistol spread formation for Mata. And they're passing the football. You got to wonder why. And if that should have definitely been pass interference, because the defensive back, once again, Coach Cornford never turns around to play the football.
That ought to do it now, with them being able to kneel on the ball here with the first down that they'll get after that pass interference call.
Man, well, Coach Cornford, it's been an honor to share the air with you. I've told you 3 years ago when we had the opportunity to do it first time. I love being around brilliant football minds. You can tell when it's in your blood, it's in you and not on you. So I appreciate sharing the air with you, Coach.
Well, it's been a lot of fun tonight, Kenny. Heck of a ball game. 2 great teams, and we just, we've had some star players go down tonight. We hope that these guys can come back at some point during the season and finish it strong.
Unfortunate sequence of events for the Shafter Generals, losing their starting quarterback. We hope that he's going to be okay, but nonetheless, you got to give credit where credit is due. The game was won in the trenches by Highland, being able to run the football with Warriors in the first half, Venegas in the second half, and here they are now putting this game away as the clock goes ahead and chops on down. I am Kenny Calvin with Rich Cornford, with our producer-director, Dr. Julian Wilson. This has been Kern High Network Football, live from Highland High School, where the Highland Scots come back and beat the Shafter Generals 20-13.
Big win, Highland.